What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
Hello. My name is Diggins.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo!
Oh, yeah.
One of the rare weeks where I don't know what either host is doing with their accent. I don't know which character either of them is doing. Maybe I kind of have a guess at DJ, but I'm not sure. So this is going to be fun. And everybody in this movie is doing some fucking accent. So, you know, there's a lot of accent to be had.
That's very true.
It'll become clear what mine is when I talk about how I feel about this movie.
Oh, I already know what Diggins is. Like, I thought Diggins was a layup.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
I'm so excited for when I explain it and DJ's like, that's not what I thought it was at all.
All right. We'll see.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
But before that, we got to talk about the news of the week. How are you guys both doing this week?
Oh, fantastic. You know,
I mean, bad.
Really?
But that's the same as usual.
I can't talk about why I'm doing fantastic for Jinx related reasons, and I probably already ruined it by saying that much, but I am doing fantastic.
Oh,
Did Robert Durst die again?
Jinx, DJ.
It doesn't work if you say it, though. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are.
What if I do a DJ impression while I say it?
Please. Oh, I've been waiting.
I don't know how to do. Can't like do your voice. I don't know. It's not distinct enough to me.
No, man, I just
you can say that you don't, because when DJ did the Diggins impression, it wasn't an impression of your voice. It was more about like your tone and the words you say. So if you do that, if you do it in the voice of DJ, well, that'll work.
Okay. Oh man, you guys! I mean, listen, the New York Yankees are going to be the best baseball team that ever. I mean, because listen, you know, it's like. You know, they're just the best baseball team. And I know the haters out there are going to say, like, oh, they just spent a lot of money. Get out of here. Get out of here, haters. Because the Yankees are the best baseball team, and I don't care about Shohei Ohtani, because the Dodgers are cheating anyway by giving him money to play the game. So it's like, whatever. The Yankees are going to be at the World Series. They're going to win this year and every year forever because they're the best baseball team. Go Yankees.
That's pretty good. As the person that's not DJ who can understand impartially whether that was good or not, that's pretty good. The only thing I think it was missing is at one point where DJ or Diggins J acknowledged that previously you had said this and it was wrong or something. Like, forget about how last year it turned out it didn't happen, and the year before that, this is the year, because that always comes with these. But besides that,
that's a good point. Great point, Nando.
Yeah. So unfortunate that you got, like, my webcam is broken, so you can't see. I'm smiling ear to ear right now. This is good for the audience to know. I'm grinning. That was so good. It's bravo. It's probably bad for the recording in people's ears, but bravo. That was fantastic.
What's this when we care about being bad for the recording?
Yeah. We're going to talk about something. The whole thing we're going to be talking about is bad for the recording, as far as I'm concerned. Hearing us try to pronounce this sentence is like the title of this movie is going to be pretty bad for the recording. Apparently we were, well, not we were all, but a bunch of us were saying Joker's 2's title wrong. Speaking of titles.
Oh?
Is it not Folie à Deux?
Depends on how you pronounce adieu.
Adieu?
Because, yeah, it's kind of got to be more French, I guess. I don't know how to do it, and I don't respect Joker 2 enough to learn, but there is a more correct way to pronounce that title than we were pronouncing it. So
I guess it's like deux. So yeah, it's
Folie à Deux. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the pronunciation was Joker 2. I feel pretty good about that. So
that's true.
I think that's right.
Jongleur 2. That's what we all me and the kids say.
Jongleur 2.
Yeah, we like memes.
Everyone loved
you guys.
Guys, did you see that the Jongleur and the Rizzler went on the Costco guys?
Yeah, it did. We saw it. I mean, I watched it many times because TikTok lets you replay videos. Maybe, I don't know. Haven't
I
tried.
think you just play another video immediately afterwards. Isn't that TikTok's whole
does.
thing?
Yeah, it does.
Can you not go back, or do you?
If you swipe up, you can go back to the previous one.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
I've never used TikTok ever in my life, so
See, the problem is I'm still on my first video because I watched that video and then was like more of this, and I always swipe right back up. So I assume another video will play eventually, but right now it's just that. And yeah, whenever you hear about like a TikTok getting 10 million views, it's because of that. It's because one guy is just like more. Pretty cool.
In the biz, we call those whales.
yeah, TikTok whales.
I love giving out roses. It's my favorite thing. Right, roses and ice cream. God,
is that what they do?
I still so old right now. Probably sounds so old right now.
I don't know.
Incredible content.
DJ, I'm the one who just said he has never used TikTok. If anyone sounds old, it's me.
Yeah. Well, I think there's something with roses and ice cream, and you could give them out. And I know that Lieutenant Dan got a lot, but then he said the N-word, and then he was disappeared.
He said the N-word on Kick.
N-word?
He didn't say it on TikTok.
That's true. He said the N-word on Kick. That's a fair point.
To be fair, everybody that's old and doesn't know this, Lieutenant Dan is not Gary Sinise, the actor who played the character Lieutenant Dan.
Which did confuse me when this news broke.
Yes, same. Different guy. I mean, and not like kids know who Lieutenant Dan is because he's been a guy forever. He's a very recent guy, from what I understand. He showed up during the hurricane in a boat.
He was like some dude who was like, I'm not leaving during the hurricane, whatever. And surprise, surprise, a weird, stubborn Florida man turned out to be kind of racist.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Never meet your heroes. That's what they say. Unless they're Gary Sinise. I don't know what his deal is, but,
Have you met Gary Sinise and that turned out well?
Well, I'm just saying, like, I don't know if it would be as bad as meeting. He seems like a normal guy. I don't know. He has a band. He does stuff with soldiers, I think. That's like kind of nice. I really don't know very much about Gary Sinise. All I know Gary Sinise for is being in Forrest Gump, and in the 30 Rock episode where Jack is tanking it. One of the things that they say is this episode of Jay Leno is just an hour of Gary Sinise's band. And Liz Lemon like makes a face. It's like, oh my God. So I guess it's like a silly band, but I don't know.
You're gonna look real foolish when we look up the Gary Sinise Wikipedia page and there's a whole section for war crimes.
Listen.
Or saying the N-word.
Oh my God. No, I'm vindicated by the fact that his Wikipedia section has Wikipedia has no war crime section. Instead, where that would definitely be for the war crimes people is humanitarian work. Oh. So he is cool.
The opposite of war crimes.
The opposite of war crimes. Yeah. Good for me. Good for him. It does seem like he's good for me for being right. Good for him for doing humanitarian work.
No, we think we could all agree the ultimate winner in this scenario is Nando for praising someone who didn't turn out to do war crimes.
That's right. Yeah. This is like as good as it can get on a podcast. It's going, I think that guy's okay. And then they don't have a big controversy section on their Wikipedia page. And, sometimes the stuff doesn't make it to Wikipedia. I don't know, but he's, you know what else? He didn't vote for President Trump. Even though he's kind of Republican. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, he's one of the good ones. Cool. Thank goodness.
Yep. He didn't like it when when Trump questioned McCain's status as a war hero. Again, because of all the war, humanitarian work stuff.
Yeah.
Gary Sinise. Wow, what a guy. I think what's your favorite Gary Sinise movie, everybody? You can't say Forrest Gump because A, that movie's bad, and B, it's not not on the table because we've already said. I mean, Forrest Gump isn't bad, but it's like, is it the best movie of that year? Not even close.
I don't think anyone thinks it's bad. Do you think it's bad?
If you go back and watch it, it's a really weird movie.
Yeah, it's super strange. It makes no sense.
I think we're not weird in like the stuff that happens in this movie is weird. Weird where you watch it and you're like, I'm not quite sure what this movie's getting at, but I'm not sure I like it.
No, I agree. So what is your favorite Gary Sinise movie, you guys? And you can't Google a list unless you already have. Then what am I going to do? I mean, at least pretend.
This probably should be some kind of tiebreaker, right?
I mean, I'm not tiebreak unless we do a Gary Sinise movie next week or something. And I'm looking at all these movies. There's like one we maybe would do on the podcast, but we've already done it, so it wouldn't fit. Or, well, I don't know. We've already done it, but we're not going to do this movie. So, yeah, what's your guys' favorite ones?
I'm going to take a stab here. I'm gonna go with Saving Private Ryan.
No, close, but he was not in Saving Private Ryan.
Damn.
I mean, he could have been though. Like he would have fit right in.
He probably was, right? Just like slightly missed it.
Maybe, yeah. He was probably doing. I mean, it would have been right around the time because what was Saving Private Ryan? 99.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was in Green Mile at that time, probably.
Oh,
so.
okay. Very
Although it didn't
similar
stop Tom
movies.
Hanks, so I guess he
Yeah.
could have done both. The shooting schedule was way more intense for Gary Sinise in Green Mile than it was for Tom Hanks.
No kidding.
I don't know. I can't explain it. What about you, Diggins? What's your favorite Gary Sinise movie?
Definitely Lieutenant Dan Band for the Common Good, the documentary about Gary Sinise's band.
Oh no, there's a real documentary about that. Is it called the Lieutenant Dan Band?
According to this documentary.
Do we like this or not? Do we think it's weird
That there's a documentary about his band?
that he named his band after a character he played in a movie? Like,
I mean, Lieutenant Dan Band has a good ring to it, so I'm only gonna fault him so much. You know what I mean?
If it was the only like big movie he had ever done, then I would say there's a desperation to that that I don't like.
That's true, but he
is like a decently big actor who's done other stuff.
It's fair.
So I think it's okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Yeah, I mean, so he's great in that, and great in the actual best movie he's ever been in, Apollo 13, which is a good movie and not stupid. I like Forrest Gump. So
nice.
What does he just do movies with Tom Hanks though? Are they like really good friends? Because right here you got 3 big Tom Hanks movies. I wonder.
I don't know, but it seems like he doesn't really do a lot of acting anymore.
No, although he does exist apparently in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and what may be the most important role, as a Smithsonian narrator in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So,
that's huge. That is huge.
Yeah, he probably says some stuff about Captain America and Bucky and stuff while Captain America looks on,
wearing a baseball hat, so no one knows who
wearing
they
a
are.
baseball hat. Yeah, except for that one kid. That movie was good. But yeah, you know what else is good? Kraven. Kraven's coming out soon, you guys.
Hey.
Comic-Con, they showed people Kraven and they went, awesome, good Kraven.
And they were craving that action.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
So we saw a little bit. I mean, we didn't see it, but people saw it. People at Comic-Con saw it, and it was it's apparently very violent. It was a lot of him killing guys with stuff. Like stuff that you would use to kill an animal, but he used it to kill a guy. So that's cool. Yep. Because he's an animal himself.
He used like a knife or something, or maybe like a bow and arrow, or a machine gun.
Like a tiger's fangs.
No, machine gun. That's it. That'd be so funny if you would kill an animal with a machine gun. I mean maybe he would.
Well, Nando.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Living in some weird times.
I don't want to alienate all our hunters who hunt animals with machine guns. Yeah. He uses like a bear trap or something to like break a guy's head or something like that, like Predator did like a year ago in that movie that was pretty cool. We like that, right?
Well, Predator didn't do it to people. He did it to the French.
That's true. Well, we don't know where these people are from, to be fair. I haven't seen the footage, so we don't know if they're like, they got those big long cigarettes. And then and then you're like
right before he kills them, they go, Sacre bleu!
Yeah. They're bad people. The hunters for sure. So
deciding they're bad people.
French
big
hunters,
game hunters, DJ. They're
bad
pretty
people.
much by definition bad people.
All right, I guess.
Yeah. But they're so Kraven's gonna get him. I imagine Russell Crowe's in this movie too, from what I have heard.
I can't wait.
But he was not involved in this, whatever it was, this little tease.
He didn't show up on the stage and start talking in his Russian accent.
No, and it doesn't seem like he was there. Aaron Taylor Johnson was there, but he was not, which I'm kind of bummed by. I feel like Russell Crowe, he's done so many things. What would you say is his best like genre role? He does a lot of this shit.
Oh,
yeah.
Does Gladiator count?
I was gonna.
No, I wouldn't say Gladiator counts. I mean, if that's the best you got, you could say Gladiator. But I mean,
well, then I guess it's got to be Zeus in Thor 4.
Thor 4, yeah, that one's good. I mean, he's good in that Man with the Iron Fist movie. He's great in that.
Yeah, is that a genre role though?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would count it as a genre role. I would count Pope's Exorcist as a genre role, personally. Like, I think that supernatural science fiction bullshit. I mean, it's a genre role because at one point the guy turns into Metal Colossus. Dave Bautista's like a Colossus man, so that's a genre.
Oh yeah.
I would say if the Pope's Exorcist was more like, say, The Exorcist or other Exorcist movies, I would say not a genre movie. It's like a horror movie, which is sort of a different thing. But by the end, when they're shooting MCU laser beams at a demon,
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, this is a genre movie.
Yeah.
I forgot they did that. Oh, how great.
I know, it was an awesome movie. We liked it. Same way with like his Noah movie, where I would be like, Noah's not really a genre thing. But his one where there's like big giants and shit in the beginning of it, you're like, that's kind of a genre thing.
Also not a thing Noah did, but it's fine. I never saw Noah, but if that's how it's being described, it just seems a little bit off.
In the beginning of the Noah movie, they do a little creation stuff, and it's pretty weird. Have you never seen it?
I haven't. Am I missing out?
You gotta watch it. Not the whole movie, just the first 5 minutes. It's pretty strange.
Okay.
You don't remember the mud golems from the story of Noah?
Yeah.
I guess I really missed out.
I mean, there's lots of good Russell Crowe genre roles. Obviously, he's in those Superman movies as the dad who's a computer. That's kind of fun.
Oh, yeah, I do love that.
And then he was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in the Mummy movie. That's
how could I forget?
That's pure genre, baby.
His greatest role ever in the Dark Universe.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's pretty fun. I don't know. I feel like he didn't do a lot of it in his early career when he was all serious and stuff and doing real movies that people, would like give him awards for. But in his later years, he has done fun movies, and I appreciate that. Like, yeah, he got all that shit out of his system with like Gladiator, and I'm looking at a list now. What else? LA Confidential. Speaking of that movie, yeah. Master Commander Cinderella Man. Yeah, he did a lot of those. And then, right around 2000.
Battlefields?
That's right. Yeah. The Far Side of the World. Exactly. We should do that one of these days. But yeah, it seems like Man with the Iron Fist was a tipping point for him in 2012. And then after that, the dam broke. And it's like Man of Steel, Winter's Tale, Noah, like Mummy. What else is on this list? Zack Snyder, Justice League, Thor, all that stuff. So, way to go. And yeah, Kraven's maybe the last one. Maybe he'll have more.
Ever.
It very well could be. It might be the last movie.
How old is he? He's probably got like...
Yeah, it might be that Kraven comes out and everyone working in Hollywood right now is like, it's never going to get better than that, guys.
Yeah.
We just got to shut it all down.
Maybe people like go Joker crazy and like burn down all the, the things, the movie studios and movie theaters. Hopefully they let everybody go first, but then everybody's like, I guess we're not doing this anymore. And also, Netflix is like, yeah, good. We were trying to destroy the movie theater district too. So this is all part of the plan. Also, if you Google Russell Crowe, the first picture that comes up is Ridley Scott. That's not good.
Yeah,
Russell, get somebody on this.
About to say that, so Nando.
It really has.
So bad.
It's crazy. We have to stop using it because it's just wrong.
We really do.
I'm like, that is not Russell Crowe, and yeah, because it's Ridley Scott. This is crazy.
The problem is Bing just pulls information from Google. So let's see what happens if you Bing Russell Crowe. Honestly, if this is better, I might switch to Bing.
What if you DuckDuckGo Russell Crowe?
DuckDuckGo? What is that?
I remember DuckDuckGo, like vaguely.
Let's see. I'm doing
if you Bing Russell Crowe, you don't get a picture of Ridley Scott. So that's not
same
bad.
If you DuckDuckGo it, you get a picture of Russell Crowe, which is great.
Yep. Just checked.
Yeah, I think Russell Crowe, or at least if anybody wants Russell Crowe information, definitely don't go to Google. Go to Bing.
I think Google's broken.
DuckDuckGo.
I think they broke it.
Well, they're fixing it with all the. Once the AI gets better and stops lying about all this stuff, then it'll all be even better. You won't be able to believe it. But yeah, Russell Crowe. Anyways, like 60 or something. So.
He's got like 3 more decades of this shit. Let's go.
Oh yeah. And
So-
especially
he's a famous
like-
actor, so they give him the juice that makes you live longer.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Kraven 7, baby.
Yeah. Kraven, where the V is the 5 or something, you know, like Frey, and then you're
Yeah.
supposed to know that means the 5th one. Also, he has a band. We've talked about this before, but like him and Gary Sinise, maybe they could do like a battle of the bands to determine who's coolest. That'd be fun. I bet it's him. I don't know. Probably Gary Sinise. I don't know.
I don't know. Gary
Neither of them
Sinise's
seem
band is a
particularly
jam band,
musical.
so it's probably pretty bad.
Yeah, but you saw Les Mis, right? Like when has his singing ever been like great?
Do we know if he's the singer in his band, or does he just like play the drums?
I feel like he probably sings. I don't know. I mean, maybe you know what? Maybe he doesn't sing. Let's Google it. We're gonna talk about the movie in a second, but I just want to look up this.
Are
band real
we
quick.
though?
Oh,
Thank you.
he
Diggins.
sings. He sings and plays the
Oh,
guitar.
no.
Or he poses with one microphone for all of these pictures to trick you into thinking he sings. But you know, it seems like he sings.
I do
mean,
think
maybe-
that is. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nando. I don't know.
I just say maybe he's good. Maybe he sings an Australian accent and it doesn't sound weird.
I was gonna say. I think. By the way, New Zealand accent. Careful.
Oh, is he from New Zealand?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
I was gonna say. I think James Dolan, the owner of the New York Knicks and Liberty. Congrats to the Liberty. Does that where he like poses in front of the mic, but he doesn't actually sing because he has a band where he plays harmonica. Like maybe he actually sings, but I'm not sure. I think he has done that.
I'd like to believe that his band was like, I want to play the harmonica and sing. And his band was just like, you're so good at the harmonica. Every time he took the harmonica out of his mouth to start singing, it was like, back on the harmonica, John. He was like, all right. And then never had to hear him sing his little voice once.
Do either of you want to guess what his band name is?
I think I know what it
James
is. And
Dolan's or Russell Crowe's?
James Dolan's. Because I know that one.
Well, I think I know what James Dolan's
All right,
band's
so
name is.
Diggins, you want to take a stab?
The New York Sports Ruiners.
Nando, you want to give your guess?
I can't remember. I think it's like a really weird, like, it's okay. So it's either, so I can't tell in my head. It's either like New York. No. It's like, isn't it like James Dolan and the Funk or something like that?
Very, very close. I was gonna say, Nando. He wouldn't name his band after New York. He would name it after himself. It is JD and the Straight Shot.
Yeah. So I think
Sounds
Russell
like an
Crowe's band
episode
is
of
just called the
Scrubs.
Russell Crowe Band.
JD and the Straight Shot.
JD and the Straight Shot. Yeah.
Oh man.
You
Anyway,
guys watch Scrubs?
yeah, I used to
of course
like
I did.
it, and then I don't know,
And then
got
it
stale.
ended.
Well, and then they tried to pick it back up. Remember? They're like, no, there's a new season.
That part wasn't
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. It's so sad that now those two just do T-Mobile commercials. Like that is just deeply sad
Well,
to me.
I feel like Donald Faison does stuff. I see him in things every so often. It's the other one you don't see in that much stuff.
I feel like he still does like behind the scenes stuff.
Didn't he direct that movie with Florence Pugh where she killed Morgan Freeman's daughter or something in a car accident?
Excuse me.
Yeah. Black Widow. Have you seen Black Widow?
No.
Florence
Are you
Pugh.
familiar with Black
Yeah.
Widow?
Florence
I've
Pugh
seen Madam
kills,
Web. Does that count?
it's not even similar in any way, except for the fact that no one liked that. Well, no, Madam Web is pretty bad. Black Widow's fine, but no, I think the movie's called like, it's got another stupid like airy title, like We Live in Time. It's like that, but it's about a woman who accidentally kills someone, and it's not her fault. And then she has to like stop being depressed about it or something. I don't know. Florence Pugh was in the movie. She was dating JD from Scrubs at the time. And still is. I don't know if she actually still is, but he directed, I believe, the movie. So there you go. But yeah, no. What's his name? Still does lots of stuff. Donald Faison.
Okay.
So yeah,
Well,
a lot of animated stuff. A lot of like Clone High
that makes
and
sense,
Boss
yeah.
Baby Back in the Crib.
Oh boy.
And
That on me for
and
not knowing that then. I'll take the
He was in It was going to be Booster Gold on the DC Legends of Tomorrow show, right as they canceled it. So
shame.
that'd be pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, speaking of things that they were going to do more of and then they canceled it, I'm assuming. And yeah, you know what? And speaking of things that have like a end with a little sequel tease that will never ever come to fruition or like see the light of day.
There you go.
We got to talk about this week's movie, Cirque du Freak: The Vampire's Assistant.
Oof.
It's got to be based on books, right? There's no way this isn't books. I didn't Google this because I thought maybe this would be like a secret trivia thing. Okay.
I did look it up. It is based on books.
Gotcha.
Nando, don't you read? Isn't reading a thing you do?
I love reading, but when I was a kid, I didn't read any of these. I know everybody had like allegiances where people would be like, I like Percy Jackson, I like Artemis Fowl. Couldn't be bothered because comic books are better than all this stuff. They're all just X-Men, and the X-Men are better at being X-Men than any of them. So I
don't think there were a ton of Cirque du Freak partisans out there in those battles.
You have to assume they existed, though, right? How many of these books were made? Probably like 5, I'm guessing. They make a lot of books.
Put in your guesses. Nando, yours is 5?
Mine's 5. And honestly, I'm thinking that's low, but I'm going to stick with 5.
I'm going to go with maybe these weren't. So Cirque du Freak is like the title. It's like the Harry Potter or Twilight or whatever.
More or less.
Sure.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to lowball Nando, and I'm going to go with 3.
Okay, well, you're both wrong. It's 12.
Oh, yeah, my God.
That's the thing. If you got an audience and you can write more of them, like it's not like they're movies and you have to produce, hire entire things to get actors. Just keep writing them. People will buy them.
Oof.
Good for them.
Goodness me.
By the way, I was looking at the trivia on IMDb in case I needed to do a tiebreaker. Oh. And there is one piece of spoiler marked trivia, and it is let me get the exact wording here actually, because it's extremely good. The one piece of spoiler marked trivia is the movie follows the book very loosely.
Oh no.
That's trivia? Oh no.
That's the trivia.
So not only are there not the fans of the book original like people that we know, like that there probably should be and probably aren't people that like the movie more than the book or the book more than the movie and all that stuff. There should be a big debate happening in the literature community.
A bunch.
Yeah. The Percy Jackson people are like the blueprint for how this can be done. Have the writer get involved. Great.
I might be getting ahead of myself. Was this book the first one in this series, or was it like the 5th? Because I feel like it could go either way.
Yeah, I could see that too, especially that this one's called The Vampire's Assistant. You could have like 4 before this,
right?
Where he has no assistant, where he's just going to get his own
John
coffee
C. Reilly
and
running
stuff.
around out there.
Yeah.
This movie is based on the first 3 books.
Oh, cool.
That
doesn't help it. Oh my gosh. Jeez. Well, let me not tip my hand in terms of, how I may or may not feel about this.
About Cirque du Freak, The Vampire's Assistant. We, Yeah, we're going to talk about it. I mean, this is the week of the week that it is.
That's right.
Well, we didn't
very exciting.
Why we're doing this.
Hutchtober, baby.
Thank you, Diggins.
Hutchtober. Yeah. I'm so excited. And
I
was worried. Well, okay. I was worried when I looked at this because we were talking about which Hutch we were going to do. And it was between this and Zathura on our little group chat. And I kind of looked at the trailer for Zathura and I was like, I don't really think it's going to be that fun. It'll be fun, but it doesn't take itself seriously enough to maybe be like good for these. I don't know. And I've seen this movie kind of. So I was like, I remember this movie's pretty weird. So I was like, we'll do this. And then I went to the trailer, and the trailer has mostly like the I would say beginning and middle of this movie. And if you just watch that, you're like, oh, is Josh Hutcherson even in more than like one scene of this? And I was very pleasantly surprised where it turned out Josh Hutcherson is quite a big player in the overall narrative.
Heck yeah.
Surprised at the Hutch quotient.
Yeah, I felt pretty good about picking this for this week. Just by that, because it fills that metric, which is the most important one. That this is a Hutch fest, baby.
Yeah, there's no more important metric than the Hutch metric. That's
does he have a band?
Ooh,
Josh
Great
Hutcherson
he should.
band. No, it doesn't. He doesn't appear to.
Oh man,
Which kind of makes sense because he doesn't do music stuff that often. Like he's not like, as far as I can think of, in any big musicals.
Not yet.
think
Give
he's
him
in it,
time.
Yeah, so they're making that Hunger Games musical in real life. So if he wants to get involved,
Yeah.
get on board for that. But yeah, so anyway, so Cirque du Freak Vampire's assistant Diggins, you're in charge of the IMDb summary this week because you won last week when we did Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Right.
And you remembered the quarters thing, or got closest on the quarters thing.
Well, I remembered, or I had looked up Krona and the conversion rate, and then I got closer on the quarter rolls.
That's right.
Which, by the way, one of our friends who listens to the podcast, one of our close friends we know, was baffled none of us knew this. It like disturbed him that like we didn't know this.
That we didn't know that obviously a roll of quarters is $10. Come on.
Yeah, like that was worse than the Napoleon gaff.
It's definitely, I wouldn't even say it's a gaff. I would say like, I'm sure I knew this at a time, but I don't know. I was one of those kids that got a quarter sorting machine at some point as like a gift. I was like, cool. And used it maybe like, a couple times and then didn't turn that into a whole thing. And I never remembered what any of them were. So, you know what it is? You blame Coinstar and those machines.
Yeah,
where we go to the supermarket and put the coins in. And it's like, who gives a shit? The machine does it for me, and I give it like 50% of all the money. So it's a huge ripoff, but I still don't have to put them in little rolls. So I come out on top.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Diggins as the IMDb's been.
Oh, no.
Right.
Nando said it, so it counts. It's like chess. You take your hand off the piece, and then it's real.
It doesn't count as a victory for DJ, but he does have to now run it this week and thus can't win.
Wow.
Ooh, that's true.
That would be bad.
I'm going to do it. I am the IMDb for this week, which if you haven't listened to this podcast before, I'm amazed that you're still listening now, but we do a little game around here called the IMDb B as in spelling bee, where my two esteemed co-hosts have to try to guess what the IMDb summary for this movie is. Now, you might be asking yourself, where does IMDb get those summaries from? Well, I will tell you. You see, there is an author by the name of Stephen Q. Bartlesgooden, who was a very prolific writer in the 19th century, so like the 1800s in America, wrote dozens of books over the course of about 23 years. I think the final count was something like 67 books. So that's, obviously like 3 books a year almost.
Wow.
Yeah, he was very prolific.
So many books.
And after he wasn't very successful financially, but after he died, all like copies of all of his works were like packed away and like, family members inherited, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. 100 years later, John IMDb, while like cleaning out his grandparents' attic after they passed, found one of the only remaining boxes of Stephen Q. Bartlesgooden's books. And when he read through them, he realized that if you took, like following a mathematical pattern, an algorithm that John IMDb himself devised, if you took all the words like chronologically written by Stephen Q. Bartlesgooden, you could derive the summary for any movie based on his works. So after developing that algorithm, John IMDb founded his company, IMDb, and has been using that algorithm and the works of Stephen Q. Bartlesgooden to this day to sort of spool out the summaries for movies. So I have that random sequence of letters from Stephen Q. Bartlesgooden's oeuvre. And it is for Cirque du Freak, the vampire's assistant.
Right,
and it's Now, there is a turn of phrase in this that made me laugh pretty hard, which my co-hosts did hear me do. But overall, it's a decent summary. It more or less captures what happens in the movie.
Okay.
So yeah, DJ, as last week's loser, it is your choice whether you or Nando go first.
I think I want Nando to go first so then I can be different. It's kind of my strategy.
That's a fine strategy. Being different than what I'm going to say is probably a good idea because I've already forgotten like 8 things about the movie that should probably be in here. But I'll say, keep it pretty simple. I'll say after a teenager has a run-in with a mysterious traveling freak show, he is recruited by a, 200-year-old vampire and brought into the world of freaks and monsters to be part of an ancient battle for the fate of the world or something.
All right.
Okay.
The end.
Okay. Oh boy. You got this. Okay. Young teenager Darren Shawn has his life turned upside down after attending a freak show that comes through his town. Having to become a vampire, he gets enveloped in an ancient war against across 2 factions of vampires and must work with his mentor to save his newfound family.
Ooh, this is a tough one because both of you got a couple things. Both of you did okay, and the things you got wrong, you tended to both get wrong.
Oh,
you hate to see that.
Tough.
I wish I hadn't given all that hot book info now because that would have been good tiebreakers.
Yeah.
We love the hot book info.
Yeah, like it is not similar to the books. That would have been a good tiebreaker for that trivia bit.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about the phrase that made me laugh, and I'm going to tell you why it made me laugh, and then you have to try to guess what it is.
Okay.
The phrase is like prefix in a sentence, so it's like blank and then a series of things that happened. You know what I mean?
I honestly don't.
Kind of.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to give you the first word actually because that'll make it a lot clearer.
Okay.
So it's basically after blank.
Okay.
Then continues with the summary. The reason why the thing after made me laugh so much is because it is so unbelievably vague and generic that I can't believe it made it past a first draft of this.
Or are you going to tell us how many words?
3.
Okay.
Sorry, 4 technically. Not including after.
Okay, after forward phrase is hilarious in its vagueness. Okay, got it.
So I guess Nando, you went first on the summary, so you get to go first here.
I think the loser gets to go first. I think that's the rule.
I think you get to. Well, you get to choose. So I guess if you want to choose again.
Yeah. Actually, I shouldn't have protested. I'm still formulating, so have Nando go first.
Cool. I'm glad we had this tangent.
Same.
Okay, I'm gonna say it is. So I'm gonna just say the 5 words that would start the thing. I don't have to do the rest of it though, right? Okay. After encountering an inciting incident.
All right.
Okay. After running into a group.
You got one more word.
Wait, no. After running into
I said
a
not
group.
Including after. It's 4 words.
Running into a group.
Running into a group. Yeah, that's 4.
Running
Oh,
into
group.
a group.
I didn't hear you say group.
Oh, sorry. Running into a group. Yeah.
You guys are on the right track. Too specific.
Holy
Even
crap.
mine?
Even yours.
Okay. I think I can do this. I think I can get worse. After I'm trying to figure out. After he encounters something strange.
Okay. DJ?
Okay, I think. Okay. After events that have occurred.
I liked events.
Neither of you got it exactly, but one of you is very close.
Oh man.
So I'm going to give you both, with the knowledge that one of you is very close, I'm going to give you both one more chance. If neither of you get closer than that one, then that person wins.
Okay. After events happen to him.
That's
Okay.
great.
Yeah, because once I finished my last one, I was like, I should have used the word events. And then you used it. I was like, oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Wait. Okay. I think I have it. After a series of events.
DJ just got it exactly.
Wow.
After a series of events.
Yeah, I can't complain about that.
That's just an hour of the movie that they clumped into 5 words. That's crazy.
Wow.
No, so here's the full summary. And
Okay.
They do kind of cut out a lot of the movie with just after a series of events.
Oh my God.
Teenager Darren Shan meets a mysterious man at a freak show who turns out to be a vampire. After a series of events, Darren must leave his normal life and go on the road with the Cirque du Freak, becoming a creature of the night.
I love it. I love it
All
so
right,
much.
I think that's pretty good. I think that does a good job of explaining it to the movie.
Honestly, yeah, other than after a series of events, it's a pretty good summary.
Even that, if you look back and you're like, why did he have to leave? You're like, events or something.
A series of events.
I don't really know, actually. Going back, I think there was a reason they told us, but it could have just been nothing.
I mean, listen, maybe that's something that we'll talk about in this next section. But
yeah.
DJ, as our winner,
exciting!
For sniping a series of events, you get to tell us what you thought of this movie first.
Great. Okay. So I've been trying to, listening back to some of my reviews, I'm trying to become more nuanced with my levels of hatred for movies. And I'll be very clear. I don't hate this movie in an active way. It is quite bad. I think for me, the greatest sins of this movie are so this movie runtime is roughly in the hour 45-ish range, and it is apparent to me at least that huge chunks of the movie were removed, or I blacked out and the movie was actually much longer. But there are a lot of after a series of events in this movie that just make it so confused, and it's very hard to follow, and it's unfortunate because I don't know, it's not actively bad. It has, I don't want to say charm, but I kind of like what John C. Reilly has going on, right? And there's some fun, I like what Ken Watanabe's got going on. There's some fun, weird things on the screen that make you go, that's something. That's choice. That's something. And I don't quite get what you're doing, but I see that you're doing a thing. And honestly, I love Hutch in this movie. I think Josh Hutcherson is great in this movie. I will defend that take. Because our main character, and I thought this is what Diggins was alluding to, is kind of a stiff board and isn't great. And I think he's leaving a lot on the table. So I think what we end up with is a quite bad, confused movie with performances that made me smile. But I think at the end of the day, is much less than the sum of its parts. So it's, I don't know, like a 4 out of 10. But yeah, I left this movie very disappointed because, you know what it is? It doesn't like start bad. It has this weird, like it kind of has like a Lisa Frankenstein thing going on, but then it turns into a genre movie where it becomes quite bad. And like I had some hope for this movie, but it gets real bad real quick. And then you're like, oh no, we have to stop with everything that's going on here because none of it's good. So that's kind of where I was left hanging. What
Like a
you?
bat?
Like a bat, exactly.
A
thing we don't do, you racist or whatever.
Yeah.
We don't do that. So yeah, that's where I was left feeling with this movie. Nando, what did you think of? Oh, by the way, title makes no. I guess if it's based off a book, then it's fine. But the title like makes no sense. What did you think of Cirque du Freak?
It's the Cirque du Freak, and he's a vampire's assistant.
Sure, maybe that's my bad for not getting it. But what did you think of this movie, Nando?
I don't really like it. I don't think it's very good. I think the parts of it that are in there are, no, that's not fair. Okay, so I saw this movie when I'm pretty sure I saw this when it hit, like, I want to say hit streaming, but when it hit, like, HBO or something, I'm pretty sure. I was over at a friend's house, and this came out in, 2009, did we determine?
Yes. 2009.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I was visiting home from like college, and I went to a friend's house who had a TV with motion smoothing on it, and this was like back when those were new, and we put this on to test what it would look like, and it looked horrible. And this was before, like, motion smoothing doesn't look good, but I mean it looks interesting for like what it is. But the effects in this movie looked so bad when motion smooth. All the running turning into silly string shit looks so weird. I do think this movie just is not for me, because I like a good, like, I enjoy the Percy Jackson show, and it's not even, that's definitely not for me. But like, I don't really like Harry Potter, so I think as a kid I was kind of looking for a Harry Potter that I could enjoy that wasn't all British and stupid. And that was not Percy Jackson, because that movie wasn't very good. And then this was potentially the thing that could be. But I also, as much as I don't like British wizards and stuff, I hate freaks. I don't like them. I don't like looking at them. I don't like having to imagine what their lives are like. Especially because the freaks are like not. That's maybe my biggest problem with this movie. The freaks just don't make any sense as like a thing. And I don't need like them to go into detail about how they all exist and stuff, but I fundamentally just don't understand what we're dealing with here. And I didn't like it. I agree with DJ. I don't think the lead is very good. And that hurts it. But like, I don't think like Daniel Radcliffe was amazing in the first Harry Potter movie, although he was much younger than this kid is supposed to be. But I also think I think John C. Reilly is pretty good in this, and I think he's really giving it his all. I think most of the actors are giving it a real good run for it. And yeah, the lead is just so dull by comparison. And I don't know much about him. I didn't recognize him. So I don't know if this was like his first thing or whatever. I don't know. Overall, this movie's not very good. It looks really weird. It's very upsetting. Some of the freaks animations and whatever. But also it's just like, I don't know. It's just like gross in a just like not fun to look at way. So I don't know. I didn't really like it. It's weird. It's weird too, because like I was thinking about this week when not Christopher Nolan, Matt Reeves said he doesn't want to make a Batman movie that's like silly. He wants it to be realistic or whatever. And that's why I wouldn't put like Mr. Freeze in it or something. I'm like, how realistic is it that in 2024 a child would go to a circus, and like that would even be somewhat interesting to children? And I just don't think that's the thing that people do anymore. But I also think like the idea of a freak show as a like kind of into the magical world of all this stuff feels so weird, where like Harry Potter goes to school, and Percy Jackson goes to camp, and this guy goes to traveling freak show circus. I don't know. It's weird.
Now, in fairness, they do provide a kind of justification for why he would go, which is that the lame teacher no one likes takes the flyer and is like, this is a bad thing that nobody should go to, and I really hope that none of you are going to this bad thing that I think is bad.
Yep.
It's like, well, then obviously the teens are going to go after you do that.
Right? I expected way more room to be there, honestly. I kind of expected the
whole
audience to
class
just
would
be
show
that class. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of other actors in this movie too that are weird, but they're doing stuff that's kind of fun. But I've never been less surprised that a movie didn't hit. So, you know, but as far as Hutch goes, good Hutch.
Yeah,
better than last week for sure. And maybe the best Hutch until we actually hit like adult Hutch. I don't know. Trying to think. I mean, better. I don't know. More memorable than Hunger Games. And I don't know. I haven't seen that Zathura movie, but yeah, better than those stupid Jungle or Journey to the Center of the Earth. So, way to go. Diggins, what about you? What'd you think of Cirque du Freak, the Vampire's Assistant?
I do think there's a bit of personality to this movie that is interesting, or that it's like kind of fun, where it is like the whole like freak show is the whole kind of like Hot Topic Junior sort of thing it has going on.
Yeah.
Where it's like, that's not necessarily for me, but I like that it's like doing something and like trying to be the sort of like weirder, grosser kids, a young adult novel series or whatever. The whole movie is terribly marred by just a really egregious mistake that they made, though.
Yeah.
Where it would seem that, so I don't know who the casting director for this movie was. He was probably told to hire like a teen boy to play the main character, but it seems like they found a sentient bag of cornstarch instead.
Oh no.
A man who seems constitutionally incapable of acting.
Oh man, this poor guy.
This is what I was doing at the start. DJ was actually correct.
Oh, nice.
I don't think there's a single line read in the entire movie he makes that sounds remotely like any human being would ever say it.
Yeah.
Now, normally I wouldn't be this mean about a child actor. Because they're children. But this guy grew up to be a Republican politician, so I don't care.
He did?
Yeah, he's in the Reagan movie.
Oh, he's in the Reagan
makes you a
movie,
politician,
and
but
he's a Republican councilman in a town in Minnesota.
Holy moly. Wait, is he one of the good ones or bad ones?
Well, he's in the Reagan movie, DJ. He can't be that good.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. You know, look, we turned around on Liz Cheney. She's doing God's work right now, right? So I can't lambast all of them.
Look, I looked at his platform, and it's town council, so it's not really all about like trans issues or whatever, but he did talk about how much police he wants, so not great.
They love that, though. How much can you fault them? They see police and they're like, I love it. Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You have a former cop as a mayor, though, so you know you're.
Yeah, and you see how that turned out for us, DJ?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get.
They're so used to breaking the law, they don't think it's not real.
It's fascinating that this guy's in the city council, and he was in some movies and stuff, like a couple of other smaller movies, and obviously Reagan. But
he never really did anything that big after this, probably because of the fact that he can't act.
Yeah,
right.
Saw the test reels and be like, oh no.
But then do you, as you're running, go, I'm Chris Mascolia. I don't know, something like that. I'm Chris Mascolia. You may know me from Vampire's Assistant Cirque du Freak. Or do you just leave that part out of the ad completely? You know? Because nobody saw it. But also, like, it is technically something that if you look it up, you'd be, wait a second, is he in a movie? Yeah, so, I don't know. You have to, like, disclose that. It'd be like, I am running. And yes, technically, it was a Vampire's Assistant Cirque du Freak.
It's like in Parks and Rec when Ben is running for office later and he's like, yes, I was the boy mayor who did Ice Town. It's like you have to get out in front of it.
Yep. Yeah, I think he does.
Agreed.
But yeah, no, that's the biggest problem with this movie. There are other problems. Mainly the plot doesn't really make any sense and no one ever bothers to explain it.
Yeah, because there are chunks of the movie missing. They just, either I had amnesia or they removed them.
I mean, I do fully, after watching the movie and then looking this stuff up, I was like, yeah, it makes sense that this is 3 books put into one movie because it feels like we're skipping over a lot. including some words that I'm not going to say right now because I so
Yeah.
really want them to be said in either the summary or on the wheel.
No, we'll get to them.
Some words people just say, like I'm supposed to know what that means. It's oh boy. So yeah, it's a pretty bad movie. I don't hate it. Like DJ said, it's like charmingly not very good in the same kind of way that Journey to the Center of the Earth was. Where it's hard for me to like get worked up about it, but I certainly wouldn't want to watch it again. So yeah, that is my review. But DJ, you are our winner. So that means it's not you, but instead Nando.
Okay, I was wondering where we're going with this.
My goodness.
Nando, just talk about a series of events that happened.
Yeah.
Talk about the series.
We already know the beginning and the end.
Put that clause in
it, events.
And then a series of events happen. And then, like, you'll have this summary done in like 2 minutes.
Nando needs to tell us what the series of events are that comprise the totality of this movie.
And this is going to be really tough because I did see this movie, but I watched it over 2 sittings. First I watched the first half of the movie, and then I watched the second half of the movie. And I guess I kind of remember some of the first. Yeah, we'll give it a shot. All right. So there's 2 kids. I mean, there's one kid really, and he's the main kid, and his name is what we determined, Darren something.
Darren
Shand.
Shand.
How do you spell that?
It's like S-H-A-N.
S-H-A-N-D.
Okay. There's a D.
Oh. Yeah. Shand.
Whoops.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I was.
No, sorry, Shan. No D. I'm a dummy.
Just Shan.
Shan.
It's a weird name. Like.
Also, the author's name.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go.
Explains it.
He shortens his last name. It's not important.
Well, it's good to know. That makes sense. But yeah, so also I was wrong. So I just pulled this up. It doesn't start with that kid even. It starts with that kid's funeral.
Yes.
He has died and everybody's sad about it, including Josh Hutcherson seems very sad about it. And there's some weird bald guy who's like eating popcorn at it, like me at the movie. Like he's like, so it's like, what's this guy up to? And nobody seems to care, which is weird. Because I don't think this character is invisible to the rest of them. I don't know. But he's like, we get a little bit of, Spider-Man 1 introduction of like, I used to be a normal kid or something, but then I died. But it turned out I wasn't dead. I was in the coffin playing video games because this is part of some bullshit or whatever. And speaking of Spider-Man, we get a little Spider-Man credits. The movie gets very spider themed for a little while. So much so that I was like, he's going to get spider powers, I assume. Like, that's why we did all the spider stuff in the beginning. Yeah. But that's just kind of a motif they think is fun.
Especially the part of the movie where he's like, Josh Hutcherson is a vampire guy, but I'm a spider guy. And it's like, oh, is that how that's going to play out? And it's like, nah.
Yeah. So weird. Also, yeah, he does say, like, I'm into spiders. I like spiders. And it's like, does he own a spider or something? Like, how are you into spiders if you don't have one? Like, what does that mean? Just look at pictures of them?
Sexual arousal.
Yeah, I guess so. And this kid, this kid is the main kid, Darren. He's cool. He's a cool kid because he's, just kind of exists. He's tall and whatever. And he's friends with Josh Hutcherson, who is smaller than him, but has like kind of an edge to him. And we'll find out that Josh Hutcherson is poor, or at least not as rich as this kid, because this kid's super loaded. And his parents that love him and give him money for A's and whatever, and a sister that exists. And Josh Hutcherson doesn't have that. They're still friends, but Josh Hutcherson is like, let's go throw rocks at shit. And he's like, all right, whatever. So they skip school to throw rocks. And they throw rocks at the like, I don't know, lights or something. And that catches the attention of the school people. And the kid gets in trouble for it, I think, or something. I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
More or less.
There's also this weird teacher who they're skipping the class of, who is like, I have to assume this guy's played by some comedian or something. I didn't recognize him.
Let's look.
Is it Patrick Breen, Mr. Kersey? I'm gonna say.
Yeah, Mr. Kersey is the name. Okay.
Yeah, Kersey. Yeah. Okay, Patrick Breen. Who is this guy? Oh, he's in Galaxy Quest. Okay, yeah. So he's like a comedian kind of guy. And he was in Men in Black as well, probably as an alien. I'm guessing if he was in Galaxy Quest. But yeah, it's weird. Weird teacher. Doesn't seem that mean or anything. I don't quite understand what they're going for with him. But
he does start the day by scratching his nails across the chalkboard for some psychotic reason.
Awful
insane.
Behavior.
It's gotta hurt. Like, I don't know. But he does this. This guy's a teacher. He's a weirdo. The kids get in trouble. They're doing like, you know, this crime, throwing rocks at stuff. And the main boy gets chastised. By the way, what is Josh Hutcherson's character's name? I don't remember this.
Sean.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Darren and Sean.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Steve.
It's Steve.
Oh, yeah, Steve. That's right. Because there's one point where a character's like, Steve. And I was like, that is a stupid name for this kid to have. If he's supposed to be like your fucking devil or something, to be like, this is the religion of Steve now. But
this
anyway.
is our preview of the Minecraft movie.
Yeah, it really is. And this kid is, like we said, troublemaker. He or the main kid gets like excommunicated. He can't hang out with this kid anymore. He's banished from being his friend by his parents because they want him to have a good life, and they want him to, like, you know, do his graduation and have a baby and buy a house and stuff. And he's like, I don't want that. It isn't clear what he wants besides spiders, but he doesn't want that. And it's kind of like because he's just a kid and he wants to, like, have fun, but also it doesn't seem like his parents are like overbearing. They're just kind of like don't want him to get arrested for throwing rocks, whatever. And they don't like this kid because he throws rocks. So while they're talking about him being not friends with him anymore, a mysterious limousine comes down the road, and the little man's hand throws a little flyer out. And the flyer does a little kind of, you know, Forrest Gump kind of little CGI flutter onto their hands, and it reads, "Come to Cirque du Freak, a big freak show." And they're like, what the hell? Who cares about this? That's weird. But then, like we were saying, the teacher is like, you can't go to the freak show. That no one likes to do that because they exploit the freaks. And this movie takes place in 2009, by the way. If anybody's like, this is the 50s? No, it's 2009. So this kid is like, I don't know. We're supposed to like be like, he should go to the freak show though, because it's cool and interesting. But I don't know. It seems weird. And also we'll find out. It's just that, like, the X-Men and stuff, like, they all have like little superpowers, so it kind of doesn't seem like this is the best use of their talents. But I don't know. I guess traveling freak show is a thing, but also they're like outlawed. It's like a clandestine kind of thing. They have to do it in a spooky theater with like a password and stuff. And it seems like, you know, if the police find them, they're all shut down. So I don't know. Is this a world where this happens a lot? Do you guys think? Like, would you just be like, I don't know, what is this map to? I guess like a speakeasy, or like a.
Yeah, I can't tell what the analogy is like supposed to be here, because like it's so off center from anything you would experience in real life. Like, I'm almost like, come see like the grungy rock band that like all the teachers hate because the kids in it are like, you gotta do drugs to be cool, right? Like, that's like the only kind of close analogy I could come up with.
I mean, you apparently need to be 21 to see this freak show,
right?
That's true, but also you don't. But also, like, it's weird. I don't really understand. Yeah, I don't understand this freak show. Although Josh Hutcherson doesn't look like he's 21. This kid could be 21. I could be convinced that this actor's like 30. He's got a very like childish face, but I don't know. He looks like he could be an adult wearing a child's wig for an earlier scene in the movie. But they go to the freak show, sneaks out of his house and stuff. And like we said, they meet a couple of people. First of all, a little monster guy bites their hand when they try to open the door. Seems like right off the bat you would leave or whatever, or you'd just be like, that kid's a vampire now or something, or like a monster man. But whatever.
You know what this is kind of like? This is kind of like those like really intense haunted houses. You have to sign a disclaimer.
What
do you call those? A release form?
A waiver.
Like a waiver?
A waiver. You have to sign a waiver before they let you go in.
Because they're going to grab you and stuff and like throw you into a wall or whatever.
Yeah.
I've never been in one. I assume that's what happens.
Sometimes. There's rules of how you could be touched and stuff. You have to wear specific like armbands so they know, the performers know what they can do. It's very weird.
Is there an
It's like
armband
those
that you get
Harry
thrown into a
Potter
wall?
guys at Universal who will do the sexy pose with you, but
Oh yeah.
Universal was like,
What?
stop doing that.
Oh, you haven't heard of this, Nando?
No. Is it a specific character?
It's just the Death Eaters in general, the Nazis.
Yeah.
That's funny. Is it only the Death Eaters are like not allowed to do sexy pose?
Well, the specific thing they're doing, the like, people are asking them to do sort of like pinning them against a wall, like with your arm, like that sexy pose. And so Universal is like, someone is going to get hurt doing that. Don't stop. Stop
Please
it.
stop. But it's so kinky, right? Like, how can you stop?
Yeah. That's a good point. That's why, I mean, Universal really, if they want to break away from Disney, they could become that. They could decide to be the, you know, we're the one that'll let the monster men choke you and stuff if you go to the right side of the theme park. That's like the new Mystery Island thing that they're doing. Is just, these are, you know, the How to Train Your Dragon characters can like step on your chest or whatever.
Go to Disney World if you want to be
neck.
coddled like a baby. Come to Universal if you want to be choked out by a fantasy Nazi.
Yeah. And anyways, so they go to the circus show thing. But like I said, freak show, it's in an amphitheater in the middle of town. Everybody else there is like an adult. And like some of the people, I'm looking at this now, are like tattooed, and you're supposed to read them as kind of like, you know, counterculture, but some of them are just people, older couples and stuff out for a date, it seems like.
Well, and, you know, if you're ever someone who goes out to like movies in the middle of the day, there is no movie, no matter how gnarly or like messed up or full of sex, where if you go in the middle of the day, there won't be at least one old couple there watching it with you.
That's true.
That's fair. Yeah.
You gotta go at night when they're asleep.
So I bet you guys are wondering, not you two, the people listening to the podcast, obviously, because you do know, what freaks are at this freak show? Because we're about to meet most of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. The ones we don't meet are even stranger that they don't come up. But
this is the same game as the Greatest Showman.
I was kind of expecting that as a tiebreaker, and I would have been in real trouble. But yeah. I remembered a couple of them, but I'm sure there's a bunch that I forgot. I've already seen a couple of them. I'm like, oh, right, they had that guy. So first of all, the freak show is run by, or like hosted by, Ken Watanabe is playing a character named something. Does anybody remember?
Mr. Tall.
Yes, Mr. Tall. Now this guy is both he handles admissions, but also he like has a big old forehead and like a big giant, you know, brain, kind of, I guess, or something.
He's
but
just
like
very big.
It doesn't, yeah, and he is extra tall too. It doesn't seem that he has like superpowers that come with this. I can't figure this out. There's one point where I thought he did like a Jedi mind trick on some people, and I was like, oh, is he supposed to be like a hypnotist or something? But I don't know what the deal is with him.
He just has the superpower of being tall, which is, of course, the best thing a person can be.
Apparently.
And like a big forehead. That's also part of his arsenal.
Yeah,
right?
He has a humongous head and like a big hunchback and stuff. And most of this is practical for him specifically. We'll get to kind of which ones are and are not. So he starts the show. And he's like, we got freaks from all over the place, guys. First one, a Wolfman. Now, the Wolfman is just a full guy in a Wolfman suit and just walking around barking and being like a Wolfman guy. We will learn that the Wolfman is this, kind of. Like, part of me was like, oh, is the Wolfman going to be like reading a book like Beast in, you know, X-Men? And you're like, oh, he's actually really smart, but he pretends to be a Wolfman. But no, he does seem to just be like a wolf monster guy, who they have trained, to be fair. But yeah, it's really weird.
You know,
he goes into
I was looking up stuff about the book series. In the books, this Wolfman straight up kills a child.
In this opening scene, or just in general?
In a later scene, but yeah, just
cool.
There's a kid who's friends with the main character, straight up kills him.
Awesome. They should do that in this. Maybe that was part of the and then other things happen part of the summary that they decided to cut out of the movie. But okay, so that's the first one, Wolfman. Wolfman in this scene in the crowd attacks a random woman and rips her arm off in one big bite. And everybody's like, oh my God, terrible. But then the woman stands up. This is Jenna Maroney, by the way. What's her real name?
Jane Krakowski.
Jane Krakowski. And her deal, she is revealed to be a plant, but like a real freak. And her deal is she can regrow limbs like Wolverine. And that's it. And it's like really good. Best power in the group, I think. I guess like potentially you could kill her, but still like seems borderline invulnerable. And like not a thing, not like an extension of a normal freak thing that we're all familiar with. Just like the woman who could grow new limbs.
Yeah, I feel like you see some of these you see the Wolfman, you see some of the other guys who will come up later, and you're like, oh, there's some kind of, either they have some sort of actual abnormality or there's like a weird like magic trick that's being done here.
Right.
This is like, you're a medical marvel. People should be studying you.
Yeah. She's like one, skeleton operation away from being Wolverine. And even she heals even faster than Wolverine does. It's crazy. But she's there. So great. And also, I guess when I saw Jenna Maroney was in this, I was like, oh, she's going to be like the main star of the freak show. And I bet she has the role. Like, she should have Salma Hayek's role, but whatever. I like Salma Hayek's great in this, but I'm like, that's a Jenna Maroney role. Okay. So then we got a bunch of freaks rapid fire. Orlando, what is this actor's name? Orlando Jones, is that right? No. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Orlando Jones. So. Mm-hmm. He is like mostly known for that movie Evolution, which we all liked, and aged pretty fun. He plays some sort of like man with a tiny waist. And I know they kind of have versions of this in some freak shows, but like this guy's waist is like the size of like a broom handle or something. It's so thin. And he has like a ball that he just makes go around it and stuff. He's the weirdest one for sure for me. And then there's a guy with two stomachs who can assemble a bicycle in his tummy. And by that, I mean, he can eat the parts of the bicycle individually and then put a welding torch down his stomach, but down his throat. And then you see stuff moving around and then he throws up a bicycle. Kristen Schaal is able to bite things really good. Like she has like super teeth.
Wild. She's in this.
Yeah, she's here, and she is accompanied by some sort of man with a humongous head. Like, and by humongous, I just mean tall, but like that's his whole thing. I don't understand what this guy's supposed to do.
And he is short.
And he is short. Yeah. He's not Mr. Tall like before. This is like a different version of tall guy. But then they meet a snake guy who has a band and a snake, and he's like a kid. And I don't know, man, whatever. He's got like face paint on, basically. He's not that impressive. And then Salma Hayek comes out. Now, Salma Hayek has a couple of talents that all kind of work together. One, she's Salma Hayek. Talent 2, she can read your mind and like tell your future by touching you. Talent 3, when she does that, she grows a beard. And she is the bearded lady, but like not the way a bearded lady usually works, I assume. But it does feel like this is two characters smushed together. And that's great. So she's able to shave herself and then she has no beard. That's very fun. She reads the kid's future kind of, and it finds out that weird shit is like coming with this kid. She doesn't know what it is, but like he's up to some stuff. Also, I don't think this is exactly when this happens, but at some point Josh Hutcherson is going to notice in the crowd, because we've determined he's such a big fan of vampires, Willem Dafoe, dressed like that guy Vincent Price, kind of pretty much exactly that, is just watching this in the audience, and he's like, I know that guy from my vampire books. He's an old vampire. No,
not him. The other one is the one he recognizes.
I thought Willem Dafoe is the one he recognizes.
No, he recognizes John C.
John
And the photo, by the way, is insane because it's like there's a flashback to like him like looking in the book, and it's like I don't know how he found the book with like just like John C. Reilly like posing, but it's like it's really weird.
They're really his vampire weird books, DJ. I don't know what's confusing about that.
You're right.
He's really into vampires. I guess maybe that isn't how it happens, but Willem Dafoe is here and we see him and it's like, what's he up to? But he's up to something. And yeah, he's got a weird little, yeah, you're right. But it's at that scene. I guess in that scene, Willem Dafoe is shown noticing them saying this and you're like, oh, okay. But this is during John C. Reilly's performance, where John C. Reilly comes out and he has super speed or something, but that's not his talent. His talent is he does kind of clown stuff with a spider that's as big as like a grapefruit, and has blue and red and stuff, and he throws the spider at the audience and is like, "Go spider!" And then the Karens come and they're like, "You got to close down your freak show." But the kid who loves spiders is like, "That was a pretty cool spider. I want to steal that for me." So he goes backstage and tries to steal the spider from this guy who clearly is like some sort of superhero. And everybody's like, at this point, they're all arguing over whether or not the freaks are going to be able to live in this town, kind of. They have a little bit of like NIMBYism going on here, where the freaks show up and they're like, "Oh, thank you for protecting us, you fine people. Now, will you let us hang out with you, even though we have weird intestines?" And everybody's like, "Gross, you're a freak." It's weird. It's as close as this movie gets to like being about something, but it doesn't really have like more. It just knows this scene probably makes sense in this movie. So at this point, the kid goes to steal the spider. When he does, he has to hide in the room because John C. Reilly and this Vincent Price looking guy, this Willem Dafoe, show up in the room to talk about vampire stuff. And they're like, "The vampire war is coming. You have to be worried about it because the guy that we don't like, Mr. Smiley or something, what's his name?
Tiny.
Mr. Happy? Tiny, yeah. Mr. Tiny, who's the bald guy who was eating popcorn earlier. He's gathering his forces and everything's going to be really bad." I don't know. It seems like Willem Dafoe is some sort of like vampire general, and John C. Reilly used to be part of that, but stopped, and now he works as a carnival clown guy with a spider. It's like, it makes sense to both of them. But then...
It really makes you think.
And it's bad, you shouldn't, you should... I mean, I feel like if you were like, should I go to war? Should I be a clown and stuff? Clown is better.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Willem Dafoe is not like... I feel like he's coded kind of in early as like a bad guy, but he is not the bad guy in this movie. It would be like if Dumbledore also seemed like he was kind of evil, and he met Voldemort, and you're like, I guess Dumbledore's not evil, but I don't know. I mean, it's Willem Dafoe, so what are you gonna do? At this point, the Hutch sneaks in. Everybody's trying to sneak into this back room, and he's like, "I want you to make me a vampire. I could tell you're vampires because I saw you in my book, and also like, I'm unhappy with my life because I don't even give a shit about stuff because I'm poor." And instead of the vampire thing, I can't remember how this happens. He gets bitten with this. Oh no, the spider bite happens later. They just kick him out and they're like, "You can't be a vampire," right?
Well, they basically John C. Reilly is like, maybe, let me see. And he like tastes a little of his blood and is like, "Ick, your blood sucks. I hate your blood."
Oh,
You can't be a
right. Yeah,
vampire."
the blood thing. Super weird. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of blood stuff in this. And yeah, so this kid is not allowed to be a vampire for that reason. And while this is going on, our main character does steal the spider. And he thinks this is going to be okay. He thinks he can like get away with this, even though he just learned all the vampire stuff from earlier, but whatever. He, as he is escaping, gets in a car with Mr. Tiny and some sort of other vampire-y guy or werewolf guy. It's unclear at this point, although he's doing like stuff to his teeth.
Do you know who this guy is? Oh,
I do. Yeah, he's played by Ray Stevenson. Even though I, for the whole movie, thought he was the other guy. I thought this was Liev Schreiber just doing Sabretooth again from the X-Men movie that came out that same year. And I was like, that's fun that he did that in both. But he's like a dirty guy who works with the bad guy. And the bad guy is like, what does the bad guy even tell him? Like,
basically nothing.
Yeah, like, because the bad guy wants him to be part of the Cirque du Freak, kind of, to be a vampire, because he knows this guy is important.
Wants him to, basically, the entire time, Mr. Tiny, but Desmond Tiny. Get it? Do you get it?
Wait, I don't get it. What's to get?
The first three letters of Desmond, and then Tiny.
Oh, yeah, now I get it. Very good.
He has a lot of lines in the movie and like he says a lot of things. which is incredible because he manages to use all of those words to say absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's really strange how much, looking at this scene, stuff happens and how much, like, how long they're in this car for. And the one thing he does do that's important is he steals a piece of this kid's hair, again, to test his, like, you know, bloodline and DNA and whatever.
Because that's important for some reason.
Yep. The status of your birth and, like, your, you know, heritage is what defines you. And, you know, hopefully you have good ones of those, because if you have bad ones, that's it. You're fucking shit out of luck. Like, life's over. So the kid steals the spider, takes it to school because he's out of his mind, because he thinks he can control it with the whistle or whatever, even though he doesn't know how to use that. At the school, Josh Hutcherson guy's like, oh, by the way, I know that they're vampires. And he's like, yeah, I know. I was actually sneaking in around too. And I also found out that they're vampires and I stole their spider. Josh Hutcherson hates spiders, even though I guess he hates this spider specifically. I don't know.
Well, he's mad because John C. Reilly wouldn't turn him into a vampire. So he's like, I hate John C. Reilly and everything related to John C. Reilly.
Well, and he killed a spider earlier in the movie. I don't know if this character's just like racist to spiders. And to be fair, it's gross. Like, it's a weird, if I saw this thing, I'd be like, probably have to kill it. I mean, it's clearly like trying to open windows using the door locks. So it knows shit. It's like very intelligent. But Josh Hutcherson is right to try to kill the spider, because as the spider escapes and makes a big deal and commotion and stuff, it just bites Josh Hutcherson. And then it manages to leave, and you know, we don't see it again. But Josh Hutcherson like goes into a coma and is like gonna die or something, which is weird because you're like, but I thought the spider wasn't like an evil spider. Again, it's the same thing with the Wolfman, where I'm like, are these guys just face value what they appear to be? Does the movie treat them like that? Because you kind of figured there'd be more to them, but some of them there just isn't.
I do think the implication is Josh Hutcherson had spent the past like 4 minutes of that scene trying to kill that spider. So much of the spider was like, fuck you, kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the spider crawls across and on a bunch of people without biting them.
That's fair. And it goes into his shirt and like bumbles around a little bit. But yeah, it works. The spider is able to escape. But then the main character goes back to where the circus was, or the freak show, and finds what the heck is his name? Skirtsfur or whatever. What's the Crepsley?
Mr. Crepsley.
Mr. Crepsley, this is the name of John C. Reilly's character, and he's like, "Hey, your spider bit my friend. The spider I stole from you, which you have now again because it escaped, bit my friend. Undo that. I'm assuming you have anti-venom or something." And it's a good assumption to have, I guess, except for like he's a vampire, so he doesn't need it. Nobody at that thing should need it if he has trained it well enough to not bite people, and he cannot be bitten by it. But
I don't know that it's illegal, but it's certainly like very strongly encouraged that if you are a handler of venomous animals, you have to keep antidote or anti-venom on hand.
That makes sense.
Because no matter how well trained they are, things are going to happen.
And like this. And he's like, all right, I'll turn your friend, or I'll save your friend. But also, in return, I want you to become a vampire assistant for me, a half vampire. And the kid's like, I don't know, kind of. This isn't really like my whole thing. And I kind of like my family, but also I don't want to get married and have a house. So all right. And John C. Reilly is
Those
like,
are
okay.
my only two options.
Yeah, he's very, I don't know, this kid just, I don't think it helps that the actor's not doing an amazing job, but also this kid just written super flat. And besides spiders, he has no dreams or aspirations. And he gives, he lets him do the blood thing. And this is the first indication that like the vampires don't work. Like vampires usually work because he's like, are you going to bite me? And he's like, not really. I just do like a little thing where I'll snap your fingers and then we'll kind of exchange blood a little bit. And that's not, that's the most of it. And he can also climb walls like Spider-Man. I forgot about this. And then in return, he saves a friend, gives him the antidote, and then sends the kid home. And then the kid goes home and eats a big steak and almost kills his sister. He has a little sister who's like fine. She's not evil or anything. not like evil, but she's not like a little bratty little sister. She's just there. So then this kid's like, well, what am I supposed to do, vampire? And the vampire man's like, well, you have to come with me and do vampire's assistant stuff in the Cirque du Freak. Otherwise, you'll kill your whole family. And the kid's like, I don't really wanna. And the vampire's like, you should though. And he's like, okay. And then he just does. And they come up with a plan to fake kill him, including giving him like some sort of like serum, right? Or something like that. Or is that, yeah. What does the serum even do?
I think it paralyzes him, so it makes him sort of like appear dead.
Yeah. And I guess he's a vampire now, so he doesn't have like a beating heart and blood. So yeah, he breaks this kid's neck, throws him off the roof, and then you just have a funeral for this kid. Nobody knows, not even his friend who knew about vampire stuff is able to find this information out, even though this kid should probably have like a guess at this point that this is what's going on. And then John C. Reilly digs him up from the grave, like in the trailer, and the kid's playing video games in the grave. Very fun. The family is genuinely upset about this. Like they are crying and sad. Everybody is crying and sad. But you know, fuck them. They wanted him to have a house and family instead of be a vampire's assistant spider handler. So they don't let him live his dreams. John C. Reilly protects him. He is attacked by the big scary eye from earlier that I thought was Sabretooth. But they have a big fight where John C. Reilly does this weird little speed runny thing called flitting, I think is the word we used to describe that. Flitting, yeah. And it's just like running, but also there's this weird like vapor trail that leaves behind, and it doesn't look good. But they have a big fight. John C. Reilly manages to save the kid, and get this guy hit by a truck, so they're able to escape. And they go back to the Cirque du Freak, which is it's a traveling circus, but there's like a little home base that they built for now, where everybody's just hanging out and like doing chores and stuff. Do we see them ever do another freak show? I can't remember. No. Yeah. So it feels like when they're not doing freak show stuff, they're just waiting for more freak show stuff. And this is where we meet the only other character of import, besides that little bitey guy who's just like around and like wants to bite the kid more. And the kid's like, fuck you. We meet a girl who I don't remember her name, but she's, Rebecca. Yeah, she's the Hermione in this one, but not really because she also doesn't have very much personality. But
and her job for all of 3 seconds.
Yeah, she's not important except for you could tell the boy's going to kiss her eventually. And she is not visibly a freak, but what's she doing here? Well, we'll get to it. But her job is like dry cleaning and stuff. She's also like in this weird assistant class of kids, which is also where the snake guy seems to exist, who is his roommate, who also has a band, or like they start a band. And this kid like fits right in. He loves his freak family now because he hated his real family, I guess, or something. And Salma Hayek's like, you're going to give us apocalypse or something. And that's whatever. It doesn't matter because then the bad guys just start showing up and attacking people. And it's a whole big deal because it's the bad guys. But there's like a treaty that they're not allowed to show up and attack people or something. And this is where we're going to learn that word. Now,
we learned this word way sooner.
That's fair.
They drop it a little seasoning there.
Yeah. There's some sort of conflict going on between Mr. Tiny and Mr. Tall. I get it. But like neither of he's not tiny. Tall guy is tall, whatever. And this is a conflict that seems to exist between the vampires, which we have one of those at this camp, 2 now. But like this is not Cirque du Freak is not a vampire establishment, but it's between the vampires and the Vampanese. Oh. Now, Vampanese, if I had to guess, I'd be like something like Burmese or Japanese vampires or something. I don't know what that would be. It seems like it's different. And I guess it's what the guy that's all dirty is, right? Like he's probably part of that team. Mm-hmm. But like over the course of the movie, as far as I can remember, we never get a good explanation for what this means or why a Vampanese is even different than a vampire.
Yeah, I do have an answer, but only because of my looking up stuff about the book series.
Okay, cool. What is it? Because I'm so curious.
So it's not like they kind of treat it like it is at some points, but it's not really like a biological difference. It's more like a cultural difference. Like Vampires are like John C. Reilly. They don't kill people. They just drink some blood and then peace. And like have some other rules that don't come up in this movie and aren't important. Vampanese do kill people when they eat, and have other rules that don't come up in this movie and are not important. That's the main one, is kill people versus not kill people.
Are they led by Mr. Tiny, or is he just like a member of them? Is he even a vampire at all?
He's not a vampire. He's completely unaffiliated, but he is sort of advising them right now because of the vague, mysterious plans that we don't know anything about.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it does, but that feels like
how the movie. Does it?
Yeah, that's all we get, and yeah, it's that part's super weird, especially considering like this is a movie where there's vampires, and the name of the movie is Vampires, and it's set up as like my friend loves vampires, but vampires seem to be a small part of what's going on at this traveling circus, which is just a place where superheroes who are unappreciated by society live together and protect each other from villagers with pitchforks and other evil vampires. And I don't know, it's pretty weird. Mr. Tiny finds Josh Hutcherson and is like, you got cool backstory or cool blood, and you're gonna be a bad guy, and you want to be a bad guy because you want to be a vampire and all that stuff you said about being poor. So I'm gonna have that, make that happen for you, baby. And Josh Hutcherson's like, cool, I'm the bad guy, I've got spiky hair now. Fuck my friend who didn't even tell me he was a vampire
or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, red. Is it? His eyes are like purple, right?
It's weird. Some like odd color.
Yeah. No, it's strange. The kid also, like, so the kid starts fitting in around the camp, and like Kristen Shaw is like, nobody likes me, and he's like, you're a great freak, and then she gives him a kiss and whatever, and like he eats food from some of them that make food, and he's like, I like this, and they're like, this kid's all right. At the same time, John C. Reilly is like, I'm in love with you, Salma Hayek, and she's like, I know, but you can't be because you're a vampire. I mean, he's not saying that, but what we find out is they're both in love, but he has sworn off being in relationships because he lives forever. He doesn't want to see her die and care about her and stuff. And the kid's like, that's stupid. And Salma Hayek's also like, that's stupid. But whatever.
And I'm like, that's stupid.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, that's stupid.
Everyone agrees. Yeah.
Like, I agree that it's sad to see the people die. Like, I would not want to be a vampire in this situation. But if I am, and Salma Hayek is there, I think we've, the argument doesn't need to be made. It's a pretty simple situation, especially since there's like 5 women at this thing. There's not a whole lot of people besides the little gremlin guys running around. So I don't know, man.
To be clear, this isn't really about the movie. This is just a general point. Every time an immortal's like, oh, I can't form relationships with people because I'll watch them grow old and die. Hey, real people also watch that.
Yeah.
We're just also growing old at the same time. We're not having another different experience where the people we love aren't growing old and die.
Also, John C. Reilly, vampire guy. I don't know if he's checked. I guess he can't see the future. Only she can see the future. But current Salma Hayek looks pretty much exactly like this Salma Hayek. So she is not going to age and die. She's the one human being who's just going to look the same for the rest of the time, apparently. Some sort of deal or whatever with the Vampanese is going to protect her. It's weird. Everybody's getting along. Everything's great. The kid is not supposed to leave the camp because the little gremlin guys are like looking at him and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they're like, they're keeping tabs on him for Mr. Tiny. And it's unclear why these guys are even allowed to be part of this. If they're secret agents of the villain and everybody kind of knows this, they're also not particularly useful. They just run around, but I don't know. They're just still here.
Imagine knowing there were spies in your camp and you know they're the spies and it's like, yeah, it's fine. We just kind of let them hang out.
If like one of the freaks was a spy that was the hottest freak that everyone loves to see, and it's like, oh man, we can't get rid of the guy who eats bicycles or whatever, then like whatever, you gotta keep him around. But these guys just bite people, it seems like. I imagine they're turning business away. This is bad business, but I don't know, whatever. The kid's also not supposed to leave, but like I said, but he leaves, and then I think one of the Vampanese is able, or yeah, the Vampanese guy is able to smell him or something. I don't know, because we get another big fight eventually. Oh yeah, because then the bad guys come to the Cirque du Freak and just start fighting people and shit, and then they like let the Wolfman go fight him, and then he tries to kill him, and a bunch of them die, kind of, or like the Wolfman seems to kill a bunch of the evil vampires, and then they just beat him up.
Vampanese.
The evil Vampanese, excuse me. And then Mr. Tall comes out and it's just like, guys, come on. We said no fighting at the campgrounds, and they all stop and just leave as if this is information they didn't have, or like this wasn't some sort of rebellion that they were doing. I don't understand what this scene is, but also in this scene, none of the other freaks get involved, which is like, what are we even doing here? Like that's obviously what the scene is, but I guess it's not. And at this point, the bad guys have stolen both. Well, they stole the kid's friends, or excuse me. So the bad guys now, consisting of Josh Hutcherson and Sabretooth, have the kid's family, all three members of the kid's family, and the girl that is the Hermione of this thing, all tied up, but not by their necks. Every time I see that, like, their visual in the background of just their feet dangling, I'm like, oh my god, is that? And I have to look, and they're like tied by their waists. And they take them all to the theater where they had the first thing, because this movie has 3 sets. And this is the big showdown between those 4 characters that we discussed. The Sabretooth, John C. Reilly, and then the main character and the Hutch. And they fight, and it's boring. But the kid manages to save at least some of the people. I don't know. But this is where we will learn. Oh, wait, we learned this earlier, but we'll talk about the specifics of how we learn it. Hermione is a monkey person who has a monkey tail, and she uses her monkey's tail to escape, I think, or something.
Yeah, she unties the rope with it. Pretty
Yeah.
good skill. Yeah,
it's a sick skill. It
Yeah.
does not even kind of fit into a circus. Like, it is. I mean, maybe there is a monkey person, but she's not in the circus with it, so I don't know why she's even here. But then pretty much that's like the end of the movie. It's weird how much it just kind of
ends.
Wraps
up.
Mr. Tiny is going to come and absorb the soul of Sabretooth and turn him into one of the little gremlin guys, which makes it even weirder that we allow gremlin guys to come to the fairgrounds at all. John
Is
C.
it part
Reilly
of the truce, maybe? Because we have no details on the truce.
No,
we just
yeah.
know one exists. So
The truce is between the vampires and the Vampanese, so it doesn't involve Mr. Tiny. Mr. Tiny and Mr. Tall are theoretically both neutral parties who don't involve themselves in these things.
But there's
Mr.
no
Tiny
way.
does constantly, and everyone knows that, but I guess he's not breaking the rules, technically.
Yeah,
Okay, sure.
I think that's right. And the
Makes perfect sense.
the freaks or the remaining characters help the main character trick his parents. Like, they do the hypnosis to make his parents not remember that they were part of whatever the fuck this was, and also that their son is a vampire or vampire's assistant, half vampire, whatever. Also, why is he a half vampire? What does that mean? What are we missing here from this kid?
I don't know.
Being born a vampire? Like, I never got that. But kid's basically like, hey, it's sick being a vampire, so I want to keep doing it. He gets voted into the circus, and then Willem Dafoe shows up and is like, hey, there's a war going on. We have to leave the circus, the Cirque du Freak, and go to the big vampire war. And John C. Reilly's like, all right, we'll do it tomorrow. And then that's the end of the movie. There's like the kid gets in his brand new coffin, and then we zoom out to see that the circus is like a big, I don't know, shape or something. And it's like, ooh, next time they'll not be here. And it's like, good. I'm glad we got all this time with all these weird characters that didn't really have anything to do. But, you know, we're never going to see them again. So it's pretty good. And yeah. And by the way, yeah, this hasn't been super clear. I guess we mentioned this once or twice. Phones exist. Cameras exist. The freak show is still somehow a thing. Like, you would expect this would exist in the, like, take place in the 50s, but I just don't get it. And yeah, that's it. Movie's dumb. I forget what happens to Josh Hutcherson. Does he get banished or something?
No,
He doesn't die, does he?
he and the main character are fighting, and then eventually at a certain point, Mr. Tiny's just like, "All right, no, that's over.
He just
All right.
ends the fight.
Come on, Josh,
Right.
we're leaving."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
He literally
And that's
freezes
weird.
them both in time. It's just like,
Oh yeah,
it's a very useful power to have, Mr. Tiny.
Mr. Tiny's way too good, but also, yeah, he doesn't. I guess his goals are pretty unclear. So maybe he's doing a pretty bad job at all of this, but it seems like he shouldn't really have to worry about any of it. And yeah, and he's just like able to do whatever he wants. Also, John C. Reilly has sex with Selma Hayek, kind of. So it's like,
Yeah,
cool.
baby.
Way to go, buddy. Yeah, that's the whole movie pretty much. There's no post-credit scene. I was waiting for one, but no such post-credit scene exists.
I think we're all happy this movie got Aragorned. Like,
Oh, I would love to see more of these.
Do you mean Aragon?
Yeah, I think he means Aragon, right?
Yeah, totally.
So do you mean Aragorn, son of Arathorn?
No, I mean the dragon. I mean the dragon.
What's
yes,
the
you
dragon
mean
movie
Aragon.
named?
Okay.
Yeah,
It's not fair that they're one letter off.
yeah, but
They're
the dragon.
more than one letter off.
Yeah, first of all, they're more than one letter off. Second, do you know what the dragon movie is named after?
It's
It's not-
it's Aragorn, right? That's the dragon, right?
Right, but why is that the name of the movie? Why is that the name of the dragon?
Also, you
in
said
the universe?
Aragorn again.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
this is.
I'm letting that one
horrible.
go. But
Okay, so wait, there's a movie Aragorn. Oh my god, there's a movie Aragon. That is
there's a movie. Yeah, it was based on a book that
And-
is
and-
kind of like
yes.
these, not really, but like, it's another children's
Yeah.
fantasy thing.
and it was one movie, and that was it. There's no more.
That's right.
Okay,
But do you not know why it's called Aragon? Why that name is somewhat memorable?
I guess not.
It's the word dragon backwards. So
No, it's not.
oh yeah, you're right. It's
Yeah,
not.
hold on.
No, wait.
What are
No.
you
But it's sorry. It's dragon, but with an E instead of a D. Right. So like it's like D, and then after if you
I
went
see.
one letter down in the alphabet, it's that.
So Aragon is one letter
It's
off.
the
from dragon.
laziest name
This
for
is
any
stupid.
fantasy thing ever.
I think a lot of things about the Aragon series makes a lot of sense when you realize that they were written by an actual teenager.
Yeah, that's fair. I wasn't writing Aragons when I was a kid, so who am I to judge? But yeah, that is. And then Aragorn is like, there's a lot more going on at the end of that word than I feel like DJ is pronouncing. But yeah. So
right,
that's
well,
that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I think it's good that Aragon and Cirque du Freak had the same fate. No more movies.
And those are the first two. Up until
Yeah.
then, every movie that ever came out had at least one sequel. And
That's right.
that's why these two were so groundbreaking. Is like it took Hollywood by complete surprise. They were like, we got to do something different. So yeah, that's the movie. The end is the whole thing is it is what it is. It's kind of how I described it. It all kind of happens, and then in the middle, there's a bunch of things that happen, like the summary describes it.
A series of events. That's right.
Yeah, series of events,
Series of
yada
events.
yada yada. Vampire's assistant. So we got a wheel, much like a traveling circus would have a wheel with, like, I guess, like a little cart for the Wolfman or something. I guess they have like a little, right? Do they
Got,
have a
like,
caravan?
wagons and stuff.
Yeah. So, oh, do they have a caravan? Are these those Hannibal Lecter types that are sneaking around? Yeah.
Uh
it
oh.
might be.
They're eating
Coming from the
Generoni's
insane
arm.
asylums.
Yeah. It's also, I don't remember if this has been made clear. Generoni will take her arm off of her body, like, and just let you have it. She'll be like, here you go.
You want to
It's
eat
really
it?
weird.
You want to put it
Yeah.
on spit and just
Is
see
he
how human
hungry?
flesh tastes?
I mean, it seems to not actually hurt her, and it grows back immediately. So, like, why not?
I mean, like, why not?
Because you don't want to know
eat
the
a
taste of human
human?
flesh.
Yeah. Like,
You
for
want
her,
that.
I don't think it's weird. I think if you were a cannibal if you could grow infinite fingers or whatever, and you ate one of your fingers, that's fine. The fact that she shares a finger with the other guy as spaghetti, like Lady and the Tramp, I'm like, that guy's a fucking freak. And in a totally different way than we've been using the word before, but like, he's up to some stuff. But yeah, we're gonna spin this wagon wheel, and we're gonna see what it lands on to nitpick things. So I'm gonna spin the wheel, tick tick tick, and landed on one of DJ's. DJ, what did it land on here?
It's landed on a great wheel slice, guys. Yeah, but what if he had snakes? So I want to talk about the snake guy, because snake guy is so interesting to me.
The snake guy.
So
yeah,
I understand what like they're going for here, right? I think sometimes like maybe there's like a freak like the snake charmer, right? Maybe that's part of some kind of circus act, right? Or maybe not a freak show, like a circus act, right? It's the snake charmer.
I feel like there's also frequently a tattooed man who will have skin that kind of looks like something, and maybe that would be scales.
Skin,
yeah,
right? And there's something here.
But, yeah, we all watched Greatest Showman. We know
exactly. Yeah,
but this was an interesting choice here. This is like a guy who has like reptilian like skin, but also he has snakes who are just snakes and they do their own thing. And I just don't understand what the gimmick is here, because he's trying to like play showing his electric guitar. He's like, and I got these snakes here, my band. And he's just like, I don't know what the thing is called that like you press that changes the guitars, like, I don't know, like sound pedal? Or whatever. Yeah, like the little like pedal thing.
A little wah-wah pedal, yeah. Those are things.
Yeah, but the snake's just like eating it, and then so his guitar's all fucked up. And I'm like, what are you letting the snakes do? What? And this man, this would be very clear, he has no command of the snakes.
No, yeah,
he
none.
Just has snakes.
They don't appear to be trained, really.
Right. No,
he doesn't seem to like them.
That too. Are they a burden? Is this part of the witch's curse? He's been chained to these snakes. But also he has some like vague snake powers that come up in the fight, right? Like I think he has some kind of like spittle of some kind that's maybe like venom or something.
Is that him?
Or is this a different guy? Are these
Don't the vampires do that?
No, I remember like he is, because he's roommates with our main character.
Yeah.
Right? Like they room together. I thought maybe I'm just completely misremembering, but I thought there was something with him. It's like, yeah, I have like venom saliva or spit or whatever.
I don't think
I thought that was a vampire thing.
That?
Or did he like...
Oh, the vampires don't have venom spit. When they put spit on their wounds, it heals.
Yes,
That's why you can see in the fights whenever they get a wound,
yeah,
then they just like lick their hands or whatever. It's really
this
weird.
Is the thing I was thinking of. Yeah, that's a whole other basket of what the fuck's going on. And I was like, where have I seen this before? And the answer is Steven Universe. This was like a thing in Steven Universe. Maybe it was inspired from Cirque du Freak.
Maybe Rebecca Sugar was a huge Cirque du Freak fan.
This was her Easter eggs. Like, only the real fans will know how much I love this. But yeah, like what did you guys think of our Snake Man?
Awful.
One of the more fascinating freaks.
Just bad. Not a bad performance or anything, but just like a horrible character because he had no personality and his gimmick was confusing and dumb.
Hold on now, Nando. I think calling him a horrible character is a little mean because it implies that there was a character to be had.
Yeah.
He is in 4 scenes of the movie where his role is to be the guy who tells Darren something.
Yeah. He kind of reads, considering how they dress him, he kind of reads as like a stoner or something like that, or like a skater. But like not really though, you know, he's like just kind of just like has a guitar.
Yeah. And you know, the problem is there are entire portions of this movie where it's charisma-less people talking to charisma-less people. Like there's
DJ, this is 2024. I believe you mean Rizless people.
Sorry, Rizless.
Talking to Rizless people.
So we have our main character, Darren, who is Rizless. He will at some point be talking to his friend, Snake Man, who is Rizless. And then he will also be in a room with the girl, who we'll talk about at some point, who is also Rizless. And it's just, it's Rizless all the way down. And it's one of the worst parts of this movie is when they have to all talk to each other with like no intonation in their voice.
How dare you? The girl has the best read of this movie. And it's... like the only line that got me to actually emote in any way.
Is it the last thing she says?
No, but that's funny too. No, it's for her little I don't even know what you would call it. Like what would you call it? Like confession to him? Where she just says, "I'm a monkey person." I think was great. It's so dramatic. It's for anybody that wants to check it out, it's a minute or an hour and 10 minutes into the movie, and she just like says it. It's so good.
I'm a monkey person.
Or excuse me, I'm a monkey girl is the line. But
Okay.
but yeah, he's like, what's your superpower? And she's like, all right, well, I guess I'll have to tell you, I'm a monkey girl. And that's enough for her. First of all, I love that. Like, she's like, not gonna be like, I have a tail. It's like, I'm a monkey girl,
Right?
But because she's not a monkey girl. Anybody that's wondering, she's just
not.
like looks like a person. She doesn't fit in at all. But
she doesn't have monkey qualities. She can't.
She's
jump
not in
real
this freak show.
high and
She does climb good. We see later.
That's true. She is a good climber.
Like, people can climb good.
That's true.
Right.
Vampires can climb good. We see John C. Reilly do it.
DJ, if we're splitting hairs at that point, monkeys and people already extremely similar.
Yeah, I guess it is weird that she's like, I'm a monkey girl. It's like, no, Taylor, you're not full on monkey girl, right? We see Wolfman. That's Wolfman.
Yeah.
He's full on Wolfman.
That's true.
Even
She's
Snake
way
Man.
less monkey girl than Wolfman and Snake Boy are Wolfman and Snake Boy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because the Wolfman is not even like a guy. It's just a big wolf thing that growls and poops in the middle of the thing, which a lot of focus on that for the Wolfman for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't think she's particularly good in this, but I do think that line read really got me. And I don't know. I kind of like that character after that. She isn't really in it very much after that because then she gets kidnapped. But yeah. She separated herself from the Rizlas 2 over there, who I do think are pretty bad.
That's fair. That's a fair point, Nando. I guess she has a little bit more going on, but those two, Snake Man and Darren, are just black holes of personality. And when it's just those two on stage, on the screen, it is rough. I bet it's rough when those two are on stage, though, for the Cirque du Freak, though, because we see
or debate, because one of them is a city council member now. So it's probably not great.
Right? We see Snake Man's act. It's terrible. And, I know we haven't, it's been, we're already, 2 hours into this podcast. And I know we haven't heard Diggins, his impersonation of Darren in quite some time, but it was spot on. Go back and listen, folks. There's nothing there.
Oh, is that who your impersonation was?
Yeah, we already said that. Yeah, I was trying to say my words as woodenly and as without emotion or expression as possible.
Oh, I thought you were doing Snake Man, not the main guy. I guess
I could have been the same thing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, and DJ, who were you? Were you John C. Reilly?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Okay.
I didn't sell it as well as I could have, but I'm like,
I'd have to hear it again.
This airiness to his voice they kind of threw in there. I know that we're not talking about this now, and I guess maybe this is a different wheel slice, a different topic, but what a different John C. Reilly performance we had here. It was certainly a choice. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Snake Man. Who gets to spin the wheel next?
I mean,
Nando
you can spin it, and then we'll see where it lands, I guess.
Right,
but yeah, I'll tell you where it lands.
Why would I ever spin it?
I mean, you know what? How about this? You could spin it, and you could tell us where it lands. We could do that.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I guess I'll spin it. And
You're democratizing the wheel.
Look at that.
Yep.
Spin the wheel. Spin. Tick, 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 tick. Diggins, can you tell us what it landed on?
Well, guys, we got to talk about the reason for the season.
Bad
boy Hutcherson.
Yeah.
Is this our first villainous Hutch?
I mean,
besides the fact when PETA goes a little crazy,
I was just gonna
in
say,
the Hunger Games, that's as close as we get.
Right, but he's never a villain.
I know.
He's just
he was
like
Stockholm syndrome.
He's a little messed up for a while, but then he gets good again. Yeah. This is our first out and out villain Hutch.
Absolutely not. Beekeeper.
Oh, you're right.
Full villain in Beekeeper.
Of course. He's
I had also forgotten that until I looked it up. To be fair.
Yeah, if you mean first chronologically, maybe.
Chronologically, our first villain Hutch, unless he's secretly the villain of Zathura.
I don't think so. Unless, it'd have to be a really big secret. Or like the episode of ER where he was probably like 5. If he like sets the hospital on fire or something. Yeah, I don't see any other potential villain performances before this in his filmography.
I gotta say, watching this movie, if you told me of the 4 kid actors who are like big in the movie, so not like the little sister or anyone, just a Hutch, Monkey Girl, the main guy, and Snake Boy, if you were like, one of these people went on to have an actual film career, you wouldn't even have to finish asking me the question before I went, like, the Steve, right? The guy who played Steve.
Yeah.
It is truly insane how much better of an actor he is than every other child in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why was he not the main guy? Because he would have been much better.
He would have been better at any of the roles, including
Yeah.
Monkey Girl.
Mm-hmm. I guess they just knew, like, if this movie, I don't know. I guess if the bad boy in this movie was bad, the whole thing would have been, it could have worked less, maybe. I don't know.
That's true. You really do need a fun villain. You can have a wooden protagonist if the villain is fun.
Oh, so he really does save the movie, Hutch. Wow, we
he
owe
almost.
Him. We owe him
well, he doesn't save the movie. The movie's still pretty bad.
All right, yeah. Well,
yeah.
He saved his own career, I guess.
He does his best. Oh, yeah, he came out looking great. Especially because, like, yeah, I don't know. How old was he when this movie was made? Can't have been older than, like, 15, probably, right? No, I don't know. 1992 is when he was born.
So he would have been, like, 17?
Okay, yeah. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But, you know, so I do have to say, though, I mean, he's doing a good job. The bad boy turn of Josh Hutcherson in this movie, insane.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Well, I think that you could probably read this kid as just, the movie could start with him saying, by the way, if I ever got vampire powers, I would kill as many of you as the vampires ask. I don't give a shit. Like, he loves them so much.
I guess that's sort of implied with him smashing the spider at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's like, he seems to really genuinely value his friendship with Darren.
Right?
And be like, you know, you're the only good thing in my life, pal.
Mm-hmm.
Loyalty's big.
And then, like, the second a random, creepy, obviously evil man is like, by the way, your friend betrayed you. He's like, guess I'm a serial killer now. Huh?
Yeah. Because he was poor. He didn't have opportunities like Josh Hutcherson, or like the other guy who was rich.
That's right. Guys,
you know?
we have to, you know, we got to take away the most important lesson from this movie. Poor people are evil.
Yep.
Yeah, and if they're freaks, they're even worse.
They should live in the forest or something, you know? And they're bad. Like, they are, some of them are just objectively evil and need to be driven out of society. Like,
some of them have bad blood that makes them evil, and they shouldn't be trusted with anything.
God, it's so weird how many things this movie introduces as, like, little things that you're like, he's a werewolf. What's his deal? It's like, whatever. Some wolf guy. I don't know. He's a wolf guy. But yeah, no, he's sick in this. Josh Hutcherson's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm like, he does, I think, maybe it's just because he's the only one showing it, and maybe if other people were emoting, or other children were emoting, the adult actors are fine. Then I wouldn't necessarily think this, but, like, thank God it's him in this role, because, like, he gets some really heavy emotional scenes that I wouldn't say totally work, because the movie's still written bad. But, like, if I had to imagine the main character kid admitting to, like, feeling suicidal, it would have been it would have been torture. It would have been horrible, right? To watch him try to navigate that emotional complexity.
Just crazy. Josh
Hutcherson at least seems believable as a kid who's sad.
Yeah.
His mom's drunk all the time.
Yep.
That's something.
His shirts are unbuttoned instead of buttoned. Like the main character. Yeah.
And then later, his hair is spiky, which is how you know he's evil.
Yeah, and his eyes are purple for some reason, which is like not the evil color, but it looks cool, kinda.
He's also got cool when it doesn't look obviously fake.
Yeah.
Well, I assume they give you the hair gel as like part of your orientation, right? Like that's kind of...
That was like a big like 2000s thing, wasn't it? Whenever there was like an evil kid in like a young adult or like kids thing, when the second they were evil, the hair went spiky.
Yeah.
Is that a Dragon Ball Z thing? Is that because of Vegeta?
I mean, evil or like super powered, because like this kid, you know, It's like Goku gets spiky hair too, right? I don't know too much about Dragon Ball Z.
Yes,
I
but
think
like
it's fair
Vegeta
also.
always has spiky hair.
Oh.
I don't know, I feel like it's giving too much emphasis to DBZ, but maybe
DJ,
not.
do you remember how huge the effect of DBZ was on the culture of young boys our age?
Yeah, I guess just it's like spiky hair is just like kind of edgy, right? All the punk bands had it, right? I would more think that like Fall Out Boy was the reason that like spiky hair was edgy, right? I don't know. I'm not saying one way or another. I'm just going with my gut.
I mean, it's a great look.
Does my gut ever let me down?
It's interesting that the other kid has like he gets his little transformation. First of all, Josh Hutcherson's spiky hair is weird. Like,
yes.
It's not like fully tall. It's like all out. So it turns into kind of like a little, I don't know. It's got more volume than you'd expect from this on the sides. But the bad guy or the good guy gets like slick back hair as his like kind of transformation look, and it makes him look like a 40-year-old playing a kid in like 21 Jump Street or something. Like it just doesn't work. He also gets like a leather jacket. I don't know, man. That's not how John C. Reilly dresses. Where'd you get that from? Where did you get this style, sir? Nowhere.
It's what a 14-year-old thinks is cool.
It really is, yeah. You can convince me this was directed by a 14-year-old. Who was this directed by the way? Did we look this up?
I don't think we did.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm on IMDb.
Anybody cool? They work on any cool stuff we all love?
Directed by Paul Weitz.
Who has done...
All right.
He's the older brother of filmmaker Chris Weitz. Together they worked on the comedy films American Pie and About a Boy.
Wait, I just want to be very clear. Paul White is also the name of The Big Show. This is not The Big Show, correct?
Weitz.
Oh, Weitz. Okay, cool.
W-E-I-T-Z.
W-E-I-T-Z. Gotcha.
This guy does not have a big backlog.
So yeah, he directed American Pie, directed About a Boy, directed Little Fockers.
Oh.
He wrote for Ants?
Yeah, he wrote Ants.
You guys for Ants?
The Woody Allen movie about ants.
We're bearing the lead here. He will somehow produce the Pinocchio movie with the poop in it from last year. So, or 2 years ago, or whatever. So that's pretty good.
Producer. He's
pretty cool.
Wow.
He's a big player in Hollywood. But doesn't seem to do a lot of other Disney stuff. So I wonder if they were just like, let's get the guy from that Vampires Assistant movie. This is a special one-off case. We need him. And yeah, he seems to write some things, I guess. Mozart in the Jungle. I didn't watch that show, but that seems like it was his thing. Whoa, wait a second. This guy wrote the screenplay for Nutty Professor 2? But just that one?
Clumps?
Not this. Yeah, the Clumps, but not Nutty Professor 1. Interesting.
Well, you know, they after the first Nutty Professor, they're like, we need to get the white hot star power of the guy who directed American Pie to really punch up the script for Nutty Professor 2.
I mean, like, the Nutty Professor 2 script team is so interesting. You have, obviously, Jerry Lewis has a writing credit for having created that character, but the other names on this list, so you got, and the story by credit, this is for Nutty Professor 2, by the way, this is not for Vampire's Assistant. You got David Sheffield, who also shows up in the screenplay by, he wrote Coming to America and the original Nutty Professor, so like he's like an Eddie Murphy guy, and those are great. Well, I don't know about the original Nutty Professor, but like, yeah, Coming to America is great. Another friend of theirs, Barry W. Blostein, who also had screenplay by credit, and then a story by credit guy, Steve Odenkirk, who I have to assume was related to Paul Odenkirk.
Do you mean Bob Odenkirk?
Or Bob Odenkirk, excuse me. And maybe Paul. Maybe there's a third one.
Both.
Maybe Paul.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But he wrote Ace
Triples
Ventura.
is safe.
Exactly. You want more than one. He wrote Ace Ventura, Bruce Almighty, and Kung Pao Enter the Fist. So like,
ooh, wow.
What a champ. So those three people sat down and wrote the story for this movie. And the only X factors in here were Chris and Paul Weitz, who wrote the screenplay for Nutty Professor to The Clumps. So I'd have to imagine we would have had a great The Clumps without these guys. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Feels like they took the Clumps genius and destroyed it.
Now, Nando, I've never watched Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps. Maybe it's a hidden masterpiece. I don't know.
It very well might be. I'm kind of interested now. I've seen the first one, I think, but I definitely haven't seen the second one. Also, I'm looking at this guy. He looks just like the fake reviewer for The Onion, Paul Weitz. He looks just like nice. Pete Rosenthal or whatever his name is, something Rosenthal. Enough so that I'm like double checking his IMDb just to make sure it doesn't have like a secret hidden acting credit somewhere, but I don't think he does. Where are we going with this? Kid's bad.
Where are we going?
Josh Hutcherson, pretty cool.
Josh Hutcherson, probably one of the best parts of the movie, which isn't saying a lot. I want to spin the wheel here. Why don't I do a little wheel spin?
Yeah, do a little wheel spin.
All right, so we got a tick, 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 tick. Wow, it landed on one of Nando's. Whoa.
Okay, so this one, I'm glad I landed on this one. This is the most important one. This is the combat is upsetting, but they tried. So like there's a lot of different shots at like some sort of fight scene in this movie, and they're all different and they're all ambitious, and none of them I think work. The one
you don't love Ray Stevenson and John C. Reilly having an out of focus like zoom in slow-mo slap fight.
Yeah, that was crazy. The first person slap fighting was also crazy to me that happened during that. Like the angles on that were insane considering how much characters were flipping each other around. Like I've never seen a camera like I bet if I saw this in a movie theater, I could see myself becoming nauseous just based on one move where they're like tumbling around the grave. There's that's weird. There's the slippy, slidey, slimy, whatever it is, kind of, you know, what do we call it? Flitting or whatever.
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
But that's what they say.
It. Is that a word in other vampire stuff or something like that?
It can't be.
Vampire stuff. Flit is a word.
What does that mean?
Flit, like to flit from place to place is to sort of like move quickly. So it makes sense in terms of what the word means, but it is it doesn't sound good.
I have
context.
I have a new Scrabble word. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
You've never heard the word flit?
No. Yeah, I've heard flint. And I've heard flick.
People mainly use it when they're talking about birds for some reason. Like a bird will flit from like branch to branch or something.
Oh.
Looks like it's from the Old Norse of Fleetja. So that's cool. Interesting here. Unless Google's lying to me, it probably is. Had a dip in use in around the 1970s, but then has risen since. So it's coming back, guys.
Maybe that was when they wrote the book.
That's when Cirque du Freak got written. Yeah,
it would make more sense if it was set in the 70s by a lot.
Yeah,
they were all about freaks back then.
Yeah. But yeah, the flitting effect is weird. Like I don't hate it. There's one bit where they get freeze framed and it looks kind of cool. But I see the biggest problem with the flitting effect that I didn't realize until like later in the movie, because it's like they get this trail of like what looks like Play-Doh behind them, kind of, for like to show how fast they're moving. But it's not an extension, but it's very colorful, but it's not an extension of whatever color they are at that time, you know? Like, even though the kid is wearing a red jacket with black pants, he still has a lot of green in his one, and the other kid has a lot of green in his one. And I think for that reason, it just looks weird and not very good.
It looks like, what was it, like Doctor Strange, all like the kind of stringiness, or like different Marvel movie maybe.
Like, I mean, that time with Doctor Strange.
Thinking of Doctor Strange makes sense.
No. You're thinking of, are you thinking of Loki when they turn into spaghettis?
That's what it was. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that one was
spaghetti.
I feel like there is something this looks like that's even more than that. It's like if you put that through a filter of Spy Kids, I think, for me. Because it's just, it's weird.
Yeah, it's the problem is it has that same, 2000s not very good CGI.
Yeah.
You know, the same thing we were talking about last week with Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Yeah, it's rough, but I respect them for trying with some of these.
I believe we have talked before about how no one has ever figured out a way to make vampires moving quickly look cool.
Yeah. That's a good
I
point.
appreciate them experimenting, trying to find it. They did not succeed, but
Nope.
We got to try something because no one's cracked the code.
And this was like right at the same time as Twilight too. Like this was the Twilight vampires were kind of doing like a weird, like a version of this where they did leave like kind of. How did they do it in Twilight? Actually, now I can't remember.
There were like two different ways they would do it. There was one that was literally just like speeding up the footage where they just go like,
right, yeah, that was the best.
And then there in the later movies, there was the times when they were like running together and talking. So they just had the actors like jogging on a set and like had CGI backgrounds and going like really fast to make it look like they were running fast.
Yeah. What's the closest we've gotten to doing this correctly? God, is it Morbius? Morbius had some slow-mo. It wasn't very good, but it was like fine, I think. I can't remember. It was also this shit. It was also like vapor trails that would come behind Morbius, right? When he like flew. Like he would like fly on the wind. Yeah, he would flit, yeah. I guess is the way you would describe it. That. But like, why is this a vampire thing? Diggins, you read Dracula or whatever. At one point, does Dracula go, "No, I'm gonna turn into a bunch of lines"? Woo! Said,
moving unusually quickly isn't really an original Dracula power.
Oh, do we know where it came from? I don't know. Is there one movie where it's happened and then everybody's like, "Oh, I guess this is part of it now"?
I don't know particularly. I think it makes sense if you're just giving them general superpowers. Like, yeah, they can move fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, not a thing in the original novel. Where it entered the canon from there, I don't know.
Fascinating. I mean, maybe there's a whole Vampinese canon that none of us are aware of that explains all of this.
That's true. I've never read any Vampinese novels, only vampire novels. So
I'm gonna Google. I'm assuming you guys Googled Vampinese, but is there any reference to it outside of this?
No, it's a thing that the author made up.
Huh. Interesting. And yeah, these movies are called the Saga of Darren Shan. Yo, there really are a lot of these, and their names are silly.
I bet it's a murderer's row.
It really is. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Did you guys? First of all, it seems like the first book is called Cirque du Freak, and the second book is called The Vampire's Assistant, which makes a lot more sense.
Well, like I said, this movie is the first 3 books, apparently.
Yeah, although Vampire Blood appears to be the name of one of them. Maybe The Vampire's Assistant is also called that sometimes.
I couldn't tell you.
But anyway, do you want to hear the names of all of them?
Sure, why not?
You never wanted anything more.
They're so vague. Okay, so here we go. You got Cirque du Freak, obviously, followed by The Vampire's Assistant. This is part of the Vampire Blood trilogy. Okay, so that's what that is. All right, so you have Cirque du Freak, Vampire's Assistant, and then Tunnels of Blood. And this is the end of it. Like that's the end of that little trilogy. Then there's the Vampire Rites trilogy, where the Vampire Clan stuff happens. And that's Vampire Mountain, Trials of Death, and the Vampire Prince. So
is Vampire Mountain next to Witch Mountain, where the Rock has to race to?
It's very possible. I don't know where. Yeah, I don't know where this even would be. God, what a boring. I mean, maybe it would be cool. Probably not. Like, I can't imagine I would get really excited about all these characters in the Cirque du Freak, and then they all just, none of them are in this, and it's just a mountain of more vampires. Because the vampires are probably the worst part of this. But then after that, there's Vampire War, and those books are called Hunters of the Dusk, Allies of the Night, and Killers of the Dawn. Oh, there's actually a fourth trilogy as well. That is Lake of Souls, Lord of Shadows, and Sons of Destiny. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
I told you it's 12 books.
God damn. That's wild. Wait. Who's Hackerit? Harkat.
I believe at one point Salma Hayek calls the little guy who bites Josh Hutcherson that.
You're right. What the hell? Okay, I'm just reading stuff from later books that I do not understand what this guy is. But it does. I feel like if I were a big fan of this character, who does seem to have quite a role to play, I would be pretty disappointed with what happened to him in this. But yeah, I don't know, man. This movie was weird. And yeah, the combat is bad. Was there any other action stuff that you guys found somewhat memorable?
Oh, well, memorable in a good way or a bad way?
Just memorable, yeah. Like what else was there?
It's weird, like, because I feel like the action came so late in the proceedings. Because, like, there's, like, the one forest scene where it's like, oh, a fight's going to break out, but then they kind of just hide. Because John C. Reilly always has to insist, we're not ready yet. You're not drinking blood.
Yeah.
Like, I thought this might be, like, a fun little romp, but I guess I should have realized the teeniness of it is, like, there has to be, like, an action set piece. Because, like, I was more in for just, like, a creepy, weird movie. Like I was saying, kind of like just kind of like those, like, weird, like, Lisa Frankenstein vibes. But, yeah, then it just turned into, like, teen action flick. And I'm like, could have done something cool here.
I do like that the same effect they use to have, like, spider vision, where they have some shots from the perspective of the spider and they put a weird filter on it. They also just put on some of the combat scenes for no reason. Like, they like ran out of the budget to have different effects, so they're like, oh, just use that one again.
Yeah. That's true. They do that. It's pretty awful.
Or maybe we're meant to be like, this is what the fight looks like from the spider's perspective.
Yeah, you know,
it's
maybe
not really participating, but it's watching.
The spider is kind of there for some stuff, right? Like, it's always around John C. Reilly, presumably.
Yeah,
so
I think so.
Yeah. I was kind of upset that we didn't get a Freaks v Vampires fight or Vampinese fight, because they have a lot of little superpowers.
They kind of hint at it when the Vampinese are, like, beating up the Wolfman, and the rest of the Freaks show up and they're like, hey, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
Mm-hmm.
But then Mr. Tall shows up and is like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. And they're like, damn, he's right.
Yeah. Bummer. Which superpower do you think would have been the most fun to see in a version of fighting vampires? Which of the Freaks?
I would like to watch the Two Stomachs guy and Kristen Schaal just eat them.
Yeah, they totally could. She could, like, climb a wall with her mighty jaw and stuff and, like, do all kinds of cool shit. I was kind of hoping they would throw what's her name in there, Jenna Maroney, and she would get ripped to pieces by the vampires who would think she's just a normal person, and then her head would, like, grow a whole new body and just secretly be there, kick their asses. What about you, DJ? Which Freak is your favorite?
Oh, so many choices.
You can't say any of the ones we already said, so good luck remembering what the other ones were.
I mean, it has to be regeneration powers. I don't even know what do you call that freak? The regenerating lady.
I mean, it's the one of these that seems the furthest from anything you'd actually see at a freak show.
Her name is something stupid like Cora Limbs.
Ugh. But like hers is like magic. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a freak thing, right? It's like, oh, he was born with weird skin or a big head. It's like she has the power to create matter, a thing that is not possible by the laws of our physics.
Well, first of all, creating matter is the thing that happens all the time in the physical world. Creating matter from nothing is impossible. Okay, but creating matter, I mean, hell, our bodies do that every day.
Fine, I argue
we don't create matter, though, right? We convert things into matter.
Yeah, exchange matter.
Or she creates it. Sure. But that's creating matter from energy, right?
Maybe she's always had a tummy filled with stuff. Maybe she eats a lot of food constantly so she can regenerate it into body parts.
Anyway, that's a series of events style explanation of what her power is. Her power is that she regenerates from like missing limbs and other wounds. She couldn't like, she's not Molecule Man. She can't like look at a chair and be like, that's a whale now. And it just is.
That's true.
I mean, I would argue her being able to regenerate is magic and not some kind of like weird, like was it? She's like lizard person. She could do what a lizard can do by regenerating limbs. That's not a thing. I
think the lizard from Spider-Man would like to have a word with you.
Beg to differ.
I guess put him in the freak
Dr.
show.
Kurt Connors is like, I think you'll find if you look at my seminal work that it's very possible.
Look at that time I put goo in everything or whatever and like made a gas and then everybody turned into big giant lizards like me. But now I'm cured, even though it's not really a thing that you could cure me from because I kind of did it for fun. But also, speaking of that, wouldn't you be bummed if you were the lizard kid here? You don't even have the best lizard power out of all the freaks.
It's true. Yeah.
There's a normal woman who's also that.
Also, snakes generally don't have regeneration.
That's true. I guess,
No, well, so I point take it. Well, I mean, you're just bummed because your power sucks and your snakes don't listen to you and ruin your guitar. Point. But am I allowed to make fun of Diggins that the law of conservation of mass states that matter can neither be created nor destroyed?
I think you can. I think I'm going to allow it.
Yeah. Diggins, you're wrong. For once, you're wrong.
It can't be created in the sense that you can't make it out of nothing.
And that's what I was saying. I'm pretty sure that's what Jenna Maroney does. She makes matter out of nothing.
I mean, we don't know how she works. You know, she may have matter.
She carbo loads before. She just like eats like a marathon runner the day before a big race. Just like loads up on a bunch of pasta, and then that
loads
pasta
up on a bunch of her own fingers.
Yeah, and then that turns into arm.
Or she could transmute matter, right? She could turn like the matter in the air into the matter in her arm. Still not technically not creating matter, but you're doing something to it. So
well, I want to know how she converts matter into arm. Also, what are the limits? Can we chop her head off?
Yeah, I think so.
When you get a cut and then it heals and like it's not a open wound in your arm anymore, are you creating matter?
I mean, I'm just getting you on the semantics for earlier, and you could go back and listen. You said matter can totally be created, but it can't be created, all right? Nor destroyed.
What that means is you can't like create it from nothing, or you can't like utterly obliterate something and it no longer exists in any form. It means that no matter what you do with something, it exists in some form. If that's energy or heat or something, like that's what that means, DJ. It's not contradicting what I was saying.
You know, I disagree with that. I think I can consistently destroy brain cells on a regular basis, and they're just gone. They don't become anything else. They're just totally gone. They're just destroyed. That's it. You know,
you need to put a little helmet cap on you or something. Fancy little thing to protect your brain.
Yeah.
I would say that, her power's pretty good. I wonder if we could rip her in half. I always wondered this about guys like this. You just rip her in half. Could you make two of her? You know?
Like a starfish.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right down the middle. And have an army of her.
And then it's Theseus's regenerating woman, you know?
Yeah. Kind of. But yeah, it's definitely... it's more like the Prestige. One of them would have to kill the other one, I feel like, after this is done.
DJ, please describe to me what you think the ship of Theseus problem is.
Oh my god, the ship of Theseus, because we all watched WandaVision, we know that the ship of Theseus is where you replace the boards on the ship, and then eventually you replace all the boards. Is it still the original ship of Theseus? Even though there's probably no parts of the original ship there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So if we cut a bunch of Jenna Maroney's in half, and then, we have a bunch of them, who is the original one? Right?
But that's a different problem than the ship of Theseus problem.
Yeah.
Fine. If we replace... no, I could do this. If we replace the body parts on our regenerating woman, when is she original? We got it. Everyone listening who's smart gets it. They're all nodding in their cars.
There is a thing you're getting at here, but you have yet to explain it properly.
Yeah.
No, I feel good about it.
Okay. Well, you know what? That's it then. I guess
Yeah.
correct.
You know what? Why don't we spin that wheel again?
I'm going to
Nando?
spin it. Yeah, I'm going to spin tick, 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 and it landed on, oh my God, one of DJs. DJ, what's on that wheel?
Oh no, I have to put my glasses on to see what's on the wheel. And
Your pink glasses with two little glasses next to them that the bad guy in this movie wears for some reason.
In case anyone's next to you, they could see.
Yeah, a little bit extra.
And I probably should have put this into the action fight, or action part, but bringing a knife to a vampire fight.
Yeah.
Hey, wasn't it so weird when John C. Reilly just came in with like a couple knives or something, throwing knives at the vampires? Yeah. What was that? That was like such a gambit from him.
Almost worked.
So here's the thing I learned looking up stuff about this book series, and I didn't look into it deeply enough to know if this is like magic or just like a rule they follow or whatever. But apparently this is true. Vampires and vampanese aren't allowed to use guns.
Oh, okay.
Or like ranged weapons at all.
Well, these knives are ranged weapons.
Yeah, I think it becomes a ranged weapon when you're hurling it at people.
I guess there's a loophole for if you throw a melee weapon. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like, oh well, if you bring a broadsword, it's like, well, there's no way that could be ranged. So let's just use one of these things.
Yeah, you could just toss broadswords at him, or toss like exploding barrels like Donkey Kong or something.
Yeah,
that would get him.
A lot more improvisation.
Do you think that's mainly what the Vampire Council does? Where like a vampire will come in and be like, he threw a barrel at me. And it's like, well, does that count as a melee weapon? All right, we got to deliberate on this one, guys.
Does he wind up in vampire jail? But so as far as I could tell, so this is the final fight, and John C. Reilly's like, well, I got to go save boy. He must be saved. So he brings, from my count, 2 knives, just 2. Mm-hmm. And like, I guess if he was gonna do, I guess a cool, like maybe like Van Helsing, like, I'll spin the daggers and be very fast.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
My flitting around will be unstoppable. Nah, he walks up real cool, and then the thugs are gonna come beat him, and he takes one knife and throws it at a guy, gets him right in the chest, and he falls down.
Yep.
But so half his ammo is gone, and he has to fight at least like 5 more guys. But it's okay. Mr. Tiny lets him through and says, no, let him through. I want to see a fun show. I don't think he picks up the second knife that he threw in the guy. I think he just leaves him there.
Yeah, I think he kind of gives up on knives for the most part after that, like as an option for killing everybody.
No, there's this crazy sequence happens where he takes the one knife, throws it at the guy, he catches it, throws it back at John C. Reilly, he catches it, and they're throwing the same knife back and forth, just catching it and throwing it. It's insane sequence.
Kind of sexual, I would say. There's a little suggestivity going on here.
That's not even my favorite part about that, which is they do that. Each time they cut it by the blade, so they cut their fingers.
Yes.
Take the knife with their other hand, lick their hand to heal it, and then throw it again. And they do that back and forth like 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
I forget where it ends. I think maybe it ends up in like John C. Reilly's shoulder or something. I can't remember because it goes bad for him. But I just like at some point, like, if you're John C. Reilly, it's like you could have prepped better for this fight. Like, I don't think you came in with the best battle plan to, save boy and I guess, beat, the best vampanese there is.
John C. Reilly's a vampire, not a vampanese.
But he fights vampanese.
True. That's true.
I'm saying going into the fight vampanese. It's so confusing.
You said the best beat vampanese he can be, so.
Beat the best vampanese. Right, this other guy's the best one. We have to beat him.
I guess so.
I don't know if he's the best one. I think he's just the one that's there.
He looks a lot like, now that I'm looking at this movie again, he looks just like the Dracula in Van Helsing. Like the hairstyle, the whole, so similar.
Do you know what our favorite role of Ray Stevenson's is?
I mean, besides him in Thor, is there another one?
Besides him in Thor.
The Punisher movie he's in that everyone forgets exists?
No, not that one.
I don't know.
He's the evil British governor in RRR.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's good in that. Yeah.
Oh man, we do love him in that. How soon we forget.
How soon we forget. Yeah. He doesn't have a monologue about the value of a throwing knife or something in this, but he could. Wouldn't really work, but he could do it. Or a tooth. He gets a tooth stuck in John C. Reilly's head at one point. That's
that
weird.
also, I feel like because what I was convinced of as that fight happens, I'm like, oh, surely there's still like 25 minutes left in this movie, but there's like 10, and it's like, how does this wrap up so fast? And it's this shitty fight. The Hutch goes to kill John C. Reilly, but then Boy summons the courage to drink blood and then is able to fight the Hutch.
Well, doesn't
which,
just summon the courage to drink blood. He
Can we talk about that scene a little
yeah,
bit?
we have to talk about the blood drinking, which I totally left out of the summary, but is a pretty
really
important part of
related
the
to
movie.
this wheel slice, except being part of the climax. But you know, would love to talk about it. So, Boy will not drink blood because he wants to remain partially human, and then he gets sage advice from Monkey Girl. The line from Batman Begins: "It's not who you are under the mask, but what you do that defines you." And then that inspires him so much, and then she takes her shirt, pulls it to the side, exposing her bare shoulder, and it's like, go ahead, drink that blood.
Excuse me, she's wearing an early 2000s spaghetti strap.
That's true, yeah.
Right, excuse me. That, and then the shoulder, and then go ahead, nom on that shoulder, and he just goes to town on that shoulder, a place that I don't think there's a lot of meat or blood, so it seems ineffective to me.
I mean, you get one vein, you're good. Like, I don't think you need to, like, you know, go for the heart and then get as much blood as you can.
I just feel that traditionally the reasons vampires go for the neck is it's fleshy and there's not a lot of bones. The shoulder...
It's actually because the artery that they go for in the neck bleeds a lot if you puncture.
Yeah.
Also, not a lot of bones. I'm assuming that the shoulder, lots of bones, not a lot of artery, that if you puncture it, it bleeds a lot. So
I mean, the neck has bones in it. How many bones does shoulder have?
Fighting? Nah, man.
I mean, shoulder feels bonier than neck does, but they have similar amounts of bones.
I see what you mean, yeah.
And we're all feeling our necks right now. We're like, how many bones are here? I'm just, audience, grab your shoulder and be like, oh, it's just bone. I have nothing there. And like, let me be clear. We see him like go like for the shoulder and it cuts, but it seems like he's gonna nom on it like a chipmunk. Just gonna like latch on there. Like, it's just not how you would imagine he would drink blood. Even the arm. Why not just go for the wrist or something? That could be sensual.
Hey, listen, it's his first time.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing. You're fumbling around. It's not a good experience for anybody, but it's just sort of a thing on your first time. It's just going to be like that.
Yeah, DJ, I want you to draw a comic of what you think this should look like and then post that to Tumblr or whatever people use for that these days. And then we can see what the people think. Also, I don't know if this has been brought up yet. This girl looks like she's a good 8 years younger than this boy, right? Like they barely look like they're the same age.
Yeah, it's not good.
I don't know. I feel like we have the same problem with the Percy Jacksons in reverse, where like Alexander Daddario just looked like a full adult. And the kid was conceivably like a teenager, but I don't know. It's just a weird. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, he goes right for the shoulder. Cool.
I did like somewhat tangentially related. So apparently she's only a year younger than the boy. They just look very different ages. Earlier, when John C. Reilly is first turning into a vampire, he's like, all right, I need to drink some of I need to check your blood.
Right.
And so the kid like does sort of like expose his neck and his jugular, and John C. Reilly is like, dude, if I cut your jugular, you're gonna die. Give me your hand.
Yeah.
I did think that was like, that's kind of funny.
And I feel like the vibe he gives is that, and it's also like, ew, that's gross. Come on. Like, we don't do that here. It's like because he does that too with the where he's like, do we eat people? And he's like, no, we just like do a little incision or something. It's fine. And he's like, well, it turn into a bat. And he's like, nah, not really. The movie is bad because it doesn't have like more of that. There's not enough of that where we figure out what a vampire is and is not in this universe or something, which is like the fun of these. But it does feel like with the blood stuff, I don't know. It's weird how much the girl. Also, it's funny how the girl is like, I'm telling you it's okay to drink my blood. I don't give a shit anymore. And the boy's like, I still won't do it. As if like he's never eaten meat before, which he totally does. And like as if people don't just give blood for other stuff. Like at this point, I feel like this girl could like cut her hand open and just throw some blood at him. And it's like, is this what's it going to take? How involved do you have to be in this? I give blood consent completely. But
also, like, listen, this is the Twilight years.
Yeah.
She was a teen girl. For her, it was probably like, oh no, don't drink my blood, haha. Like, I guess if you really need to drink my blood, you can have some. Oh no. Oh, how terrible this situation. Like, she was into it.
I mean, especially she's got, I feel like for her sake, it's like she's the only child at this thing besides the snake boy who nobody likes. And the little gremlin guys who I don't know what their deal is. But like when another child shows up who's around your age or whatever, and seemingly not a snake boy, you lock that shit down. Like, don't waste time, you know? And I think she does more or less. She's like, hey, we'll be friends. Take off your pants. All right, let's do this. Like, I'm joking, but she does ask him to take off his pants at one point.
Yeah, I was going to say, Nando's not just saying
good.
that for no reason. That's not the context, but that does happen.
Yeah. Oof, yeah. So I can't remember what we were talking about, but that is weird, that the blood drinking. She's a monkey girl also. Does she have monkey blood? Is it different blood than usual?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. He couldn't do lizard blood, so... no, I started with the knife fight, which went into the climax, which went into the blood sucking, but that's definitely
which then went into another climax.
Hey-o.
Well, that's the other funny thing about the blood sucking with the shoulder. You kind of would expect the way this scene works for him to go onto her shoulder, and like you see it from like behind his head, so you're just seeing her face, but she has no reaction whatsoever, as if she's kind of like waiting for one, but she's like, I guess I'm not going to be into this. All right. There's no like, I can't believe it. This is what it feels like to be bitten, because nobody has ever done this to her, I assume. Although, why doesn't the fucking vampire? Why do they bite any people if you have people that you could bite that are here?
Yeah, right. The better options. Yeah.
Well, you know, vampires drinking blood has always been a somewhat kind of like a sexual metaphor.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like so doing that to a little kid is like, I don't feel comfortable with this.
Oh, speaking of that, this movie does that twice, which I thought was super weird. I can't remember the second time it does it. But do you guys remember the bits where the boy goes vampire crazy for a second?
Oh, yeah.
There's two of them. I don't remember. I'm trying to find the second one. But there's like a bit where he's like looking at his family and he's like, I just want to bite them all so much. But he doesn't do that for everybody. He just does it for the sister, the little kid sister. Then there's another bit later where he's like in a car or something. Do you guys remember this? When does this happen?
I don't
I don't remember the car bit. I remember the sister bit.
I do remember this, but also it's like he's not in the car with them. This is like a memory or something.
Is that
because it's after they get kidnapped,
right?
So I'm like, what even is this scene actually?
Yeah, but yeah, for some reason it does this with two. It exclusively does this little bit with two young children, two young girls, which is weird. I'm not sure if it's the same one, but it's strange that they don't do that with the parents. But a choice. Way to go, movie. DJ, was this your real slice? I can't even remember what it was.
Yeah, I'm gonna spin it again and tick Diggins. That's all you, buddy.
All right, it landed on a wheel slice here called "This Spider Better Not Awaken Anything in Me." Specifically,
Spider.
The juxtaposition of two things with this boy I found so funny.
Yeah.
One, the first is that he gets picked by Salma Hayek to be her like volunteer for whatever her thing is, which I guess is fortune reading, and also she grows a beard. Weird
she's two
combo.
characters smushed together by accident or something. Because,
And so you have, he goes and like lays down on a little like chaise lounge thing, while Salma Hayek like straddles him, like rubbing her hands against his face. And then she like has a vision and is like, oh, like moving around on top of him, and then grows a beard. And then he goes back, and at no point during any of this does he seem to be having any emotions about what's happening whatsoever. He's just sitting there like, okay.
Yeah.
And then the next thing that happens is John C. Reilly comes out to do his trick, and he like brings out his little spider, and we like zoom in on the kid's face as he's like hitting puberty for the first time, like, oh, that spider, she's beautiful. It's like,
yeah.
I don't want to be like, there's something wrong with you, kid, because like, you know, maybe you're gay or, you know, something, or you're asexual, you're not interested in that kind of thing. These are all totally fine things for a person to be. But then we get later confirmation that he is interested in women because he wants to kiss the girl. And I'm like, so Salma Hayek did nothing for you but the spider.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Maybe
And
he
it
just
really, like, oops, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
And it really seems like it's not just like he sees a spider and he's like, wow, that's so cool. He really says she's beautiful and seems like really interested in this spider sexually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny too, because like his eventual girlfriend will be a monkey person or monkey girl, as we will learn. So maybe he's just like, 4 limbs is just not it for me. You know, I need a tail, or I need 4 extra limbs or something. Like, doesn't matter. You could be Salma Hayek. I couldn't even care less until I learned that you have extra. Because even with the monkey girl, he's not really super into her until monkey girl stuff happens. And then he's like, I'll drink your blood. Yes, please. So, yeah, I would say maybe that's the reason.
Yeah, it might be a number of limbs problem.
It's probably it. They should have made that a little bit more explicit in the movie because it seems pretty important, but I get it.
The movie doesn't want to make anything like clear at any point.
Yeah. If we were cutting the scene where one character goes, wait, what's a Vampanese? Then I guess we were cutting a lot of other stuff too. That's so funny that they didn't put any reference to what the fucking Vampanese are in this movie. It's just like, you guys know Vampanese. It's Vampanese.
Yeah, it's established lore.
Yeah.
I think John C. Reilly does at one point say like they kill people and we don't do that. But like he doesn't say like where that distinction comes from or like what they are or anything. It's just that.
Right. Like if it was the opposite, I think it would make it way easier. If vampires kill people, and he's like, well, then what are we? Well, we're Vampanese. We don't really kill people. We like trick them and then drink a little bit of their blood and stuff. Then I'd be like, okay, I think I see the distinction. But with this, it's, yeah, just not that at all. Yeah, it's pretty good.
You guys ever been sexually interested in a spider?
Not really, no.
I mean, like, you know, when a spider is like a woman mostly, like in the James and the Giant Peach movie, you know?
I was going to bring up the spider from James and the Giant Peach.
Not gonna pretend. I mean, you know, if I had to rank all the spiders in terms of attractiveness, she's very near the top, if not the highest ranked spider. I'm trying to remember if there's another spider. I mean, like Black Arachnia, we've talked about her before. As a character that's been in like spiders often are associated with women for some reason. Charlotte's Web spider, you know, is it because they're mothers and they have like babies? Is that why people think they make houses? You know, why are spiders women?
I don't know. That's a good question, honestly. I don't know. Maybe like the Black Widow thing sort of made that connection too.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I think that's why there's like femme fatale spiders exist. It's because of the whole Black Widow thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, there's also like Charlotte and Charlotte's Web and other stuff where spiders are just women.
And Shelob from the Lord of the Rings is like a woman too, for some reason.
In that one video game, they were like, "What if the giant spider that eats people was instead a sexy woman?"
That's right. I forgot about that.
What if she was?
What if she was a sexy woman?
But yeah, no, Miss Spider is both the sexy. Well, I guess Miss Spider, because I'm looking this up, right? I'm on the Disney Wiki page. From James and the Giant Peach. I want to say,
is it?
You'd think so. Well, I don't know if it is or isn't, but it is on the Disney Wiki. So she was apparently in Disney Heroes Battle Mode. So maybe they are a Disney thing.
I don't even know what that is.
Maybe Disney bought him at some point or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like I'd be curious who voiced this character. Susan Sarandon. Okay, well, there you go. Mom Racer, the perfect woman. There's can't do better than that. Fascinating. Man, I'm sure somebody on the Discord will know this. Why spiders are women so much. If it's the Black Widow thing, it's the Build Webs thing, it's the, if it's just one movie that did it, or like one book like that did it once and everybody was like, that's a good thing, we'll do that forever.
Yeah, right.
But it's one of them. And this spider like conceivably like speaks English and stuff too. Like it can follow commands. So I don't know, maybe that's where the franchise goes.
Like, a dog can follow commands, but it doesn't understand English.
I think this one did though. I feel like this one's like got more intelligence. I feel like this one like makes signs at some point or something that made me go like, oh, this is like a guy. This isn't just a spider. Like,
I think at the end of the movie, like John C. Reilly's like talking to the spider.
Yeah. That must be it. Also, when one kid is like, I want to be a vampire, and the other one's like, I want to be a spider, and then that first kid gets turned into a vampire, and that second kid gets bitten by a spider, I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, what's his name's gonna be Spider Boy, the bad guy. So it's weird that he was a vampire.
No, he was a Vampanese.
Or Vampanese, sorry. Yeah.
Very different things.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Pretty good. I think we've gotten all of the sexual energy we're gonna get out of this spider. So why don't I spin that wheel again? Tick, 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 tick. And oh my goodness, Nando, it landed on one of yours.
Wonderful. All right. This wheel slice just says 59 minutes and 50 seconds. So I want you all, if you have the availability now, go to 59 minutes and 50 seconds in Vampire's Assistant, and you get a line read that I think is fascinating. I don't remember why. I don't remember why. Also, 59:50 is wrong. It's 59:30. Okay, specifically 59:24.
59:24. Okay.
So the main kid is dead, as far as they know, and the kids are talking about it. One kid's gonna be like, "I fucking hate that kid," and then Josh Hutcherson's gonna punch him. But before that, there's this redhead kid who's just one of the random kids, and he has a line that I will read you, and it is, "I knew he was like my best friend, but I cannot figure it. If for some reason it sounds so strange to me, and I just want you guys to listen to it, and I'll play it in the podcast so you guys can hear it after the fact."
It's 59:24. Did you say?
That's right. Yeah. If you guys,
right, let's see.
Yeah, just listen to the guy, and then you'll be like, "Wow." This guy cycles through like 4 accents, oscillating wildly between like Boston and Texas, with the spattering of like Tommy Wiseau. It's very strange.
Oh no, he was like my best friend.
I don't know. He's like my best friend. Do you think he like planned it? Do you think they were like a little weird with it, kid? Or do you think that's how this kid speaks? I don't know. But
I don't know. But you're right. Well, I did
weird
notice that in the moment, but
yeah.
It was, I don't know. I just sort of glossed over it because Josh Hutcherson punches a kid right after.
I think it's because there were so many things in this movie that were weird, but were just like weird. Like they didn't explain what that thing is. That when something came up tangible, when there was something on the notes that I was like, oh shit, that, it immediately went to the top of my list of things that were going on the wheel. I'd love to do a little bit of homework here and figure out what actor that was, but it's going to be tricky because, oh wait, that's probably Patrick Fulton. Okay, never mind.
Probably who?
I don't know. Patrick Fulton. I'm just looking at so it seems like he did like 4 movies, including this, and this was the last one. But just looking at the picture of the kid with the red hair, it's probably the same actor. And I'd love to know what was going on here because it's really weird.
I keep going back and like I miss this too in real time. I probably not paying attention to the punching right after, but like this feels like ADR of different people is like my best explanation for this. Like they ADR'd a bunch of like voices because they had to for some reason. Maybe the kid had strep on set, so he was talking like this. Like, I just get up there, mouth it, and then we'll put it in post.
That would be like if the AI had to do it, though. And it was like, I know what, I don't know. He was my best friend. Sounds like I got this. And then it just spit this out.
Hey, my best friend.
My best friend.
We have no choice but to watch the movie Glory Road, where he plays Wade Jr., to see if he talks like that in that movie, too.
Yeah.
Our only
Does this movie take place anywhere specific? I can't remember.
No.
It says on the flyer, right?
It doesn't, no. And when he comes out, when John C. Reilly comes out to be like, I'm happy to be
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Like, I'm happy to be in this random, nowhere suburban town that used to be a community, but it's now a blighted hellscape of shopping malls and slums.
Yeah, that was fun.
By the way,
I like that.
Like, yeah, that's pretty much most places in America.
Pretty much. Yeah, you're right. There's no information on the Cirque du Freak poster that everyone's passing around, so pretty good. Good way to make it. I mean, it could have been any of our homes. You know, I'm sure I watched this and was like, it's right outside my back door.
That's Anytown, USA, right there.
Yeah. But yeah, so that line's insane. And it's probably the most interesting part of the movie. I'm going to spin the wheel for last lightning round of wheels. Spin, tick, 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 lands it on DJs. What is your last wheel thing?
Yeah, my last wheel thing here. Wow, so many to choose from. Wow, just incredible. Let's just go with this. Nothing good happens in your home at 3 a.m. So this was a bizarre scene.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I don't know. So this horrible teacher, who our introduction to him is he comes into the classroom and just like rakes his nails across a chalkboard, which sounds horrible, but also like would hurt
So much.
like that doesn't feel like a pleasant experience for anyone, you know, including the person doing it. So he's kind of rivaling with the boys the whole movie, and you know, Josh Hutcherson decides it's time to get his. So he knocks on.
I think is the guy who's trying to comfort Josh Hutcherson
Yes.
at the funeral.
Yes.
Although his comforting is like, relax,
Yeah,
kid.
it's
We're
not
all
about
having
you.
a bad time today. I get it. He's your
Yeah.
best friend, but like, you know, get
Fair,
over
he's
it.
saying that to Josh Hutcherson trying to like beat the shit out of
Yeah.
the corpse. So that is a situation where you want to be like, okay, whoa, okay. let's
Nah,
not
let him do
that.
it. Whatever. What's the worst thing that can happen? He punches the corpse a little too many times, comes back to life secretly. Oh, wow. He exposed the secret life of vampires and stuff. Great.
Bruises it up a bit before.
Yeah. Yeah, John C. Reilly opens the thing. What the fuck happened to you? I don't know. I guess I got beat up by somebody at the funeral home. This nondescript city we're in is probably Boston. I didn't know it was Boston before, but now I know. That's what he would say.
And John C. Reilly would be like, don't be ridiculous. You're white.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my gosh. So, where was I? Yes. So, Josh Hutcherson goes to the teacher's house, knocks on the door, and it's like, yeah, it's me, Mr. Blah, blah. And he's like, what are you doing here? He like opens the door and it's like, what are you doing here? It's 3 a.m. And first of all, what are you doing up at 3 a.m.? Why
He's
are you
reading.
letting... Yeah, right. He's like up reading. Like you teach school, man. You should not be up at this hour.
Yeah.
Why are you letting one of your
It's the
students
freaking weekend, DJ. Let the man live.
Is it whatever? Well, fine. Fine. That's not egregious. The more egregious thing is that he lets his student in at that time, which is the worst idea. Only bad things will come of this. Like I just, you see him like, go away. No, you can't be here. We're not doing this. Go get out. I will call the police. Right.
I do feel, I mean, the way the energy Josh Hutcherson is giving,
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't let him in. But like, if you're a teacher and one of your students shows up at your door at 3 a.m. like clearly upset or like distressed or something, I think you would be like, oh my God, what's wrong? Like, come in, you know. I feel like you would have some level of concern.
I guess.
Yeah.
But then, like, he's rolling, like, with these just, like, strangers. And at no point is, like, I'm calling the police, right? Just lets the Hutch monologue, which great monologue. Thought it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
then he gets the Hutch gets his blood. The Hutch gets that blood.
Yeah, I mean, if you're this guy and this scary dude, Ray Stevenson, comes into your apartment, you're basically like, he's gonna kill me no matter what happens. Like, I don't know. I think he should have defended himself, but I understand why it didn't work. And he kind of gave up.
If a Vampanese like walked into my apartment, I wouldn't bother with any of that. Like, I'll call the police, or like, you better get out of here. I'd be like, well, this is when I die. All right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Also, like, if I just got humiliated like this guy did in front of everybody at the freak show by calling them freaks instead, like, that's pretty bad. He was probably like hoping that, he was probably just thinking about that all day right before he goes to sleep every day. He was like, remember that time I called them freaks? I shouldn't have done that. So maybe he was welcoming the sweet release of death, or that's whatever the Vampanese would give him. I also think that, I think DJ's right, though. The energy that Josh Hutcherson gives doesn't work for here. Or whoever said this was right. Like, if Josh Hutcherson is crying or something, sure. But Josh Hutcherson's basically like, hey, teacher, let me in so I can fucking kill you. And he's like, what's going on out here? And he opens the door. So, I don't know. Surprised he's lasted this long. But, yeah. Pretty cool.
It's a cool movie.
Yeah.
It's a cool movie.
All right, you spin the wheel one last time, DJ?
Oh, yeah. Spin this wheel and tick, 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 Diggins.
Is the last one?
Last one.
Well,
make it good.
Then I think there's only one choice for it to end on, and it's a good thing that it came up on this one. A little thing I like to just call vaguely important. Are the people in this fucking movie allergic to explaining anything?
Yeah, they really are. There is nothing but time, but there's none of it.
There's so many scenes where, like, just pick one at random. Like, there's one where Ken Watanabe and John C. Reilly are talking, and Ken Watanabe is like, why did you bring the boy here? And John C. Reilly is like, I thought it would be bad if Mr. Tiny had him. And he's like, and then they're like, yes, Mr. Tiny is a man who plans things. Well, certainly. Goodbye.
Yep.
And it's like, what does that mean? You can't just say things.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Tiny, every time, it feels like someone for running a D&D campaign for the first time, and they don't know how to make their villains cool and mysterious yet. So every time the main villain shows up, they're just like, this is just like my plans said should happen.
Yeah.
My plans are going very well. You thought you foiled me, but actually my plan was also like this. And you're like, what does that mean? And he's like, it's time for me to go. Goodbye.
Yeah, that guy's awesome. It's so stupid.
It's that first, it's just everyone's perpetually stuck in the first scene where you like only vaguely allude to the things that are important before it becomes clear what those are later, or you explain them. They're just always in that first scene, always going like, well, we can't let the thing happen. You're right. The thing would be bad.
Yeah, we can't let series of events happen.
Good night.
Well, it's even like it's so funny because it's clearly like something. If I don't know, do you think this movie is written exclusively for people who have read the books, and they're like, Vampanese, oh cool, but like for people that haven't read them, this is what it's like to watch this book or this movie, or just like clearly they forgot all the exposition.
Like, the only way for us to know is if one of our listeners out there is a Cirque du Freak head.
Yeah,
can tell us how different the experience is if you have read the book. But as it stands, I'm at the end of this movie, and I don't have any fucking idea what happened.
Yeah. Especially for a movie with a premise like The Freak Show. Like, as a premise already, I feel like there's people you would have to explain what a freak show is to. Because it's not a real thing. Like, at least Hogwarts is a school, and you're like, yeah, I kind of know what school is. I know what a class is and whatever. But like, I don't know. It's just not as universal of a concept as it feels like the movie thinks it is.
Yeah, honestly. Ugh.
But
indeed.
I mean, on the one hand, I can say like, well, yeah, in a overarching book series, like, sure, you want to leave some mysteries and not fully explain everything. But like, did they really get 3 books in and I still have no clue who the villain is or what he's doing or why? And also why the heroes have done anything they've done?
Here's a question. When did the first book come out? Look this up.
I want to say like 2002?
2000. So
2000. Wow.
yeah, right in there. But when was the first Harry Potter book? Before that, right?
Oh, like the 90s, I think.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know if this Darren or not Darren Chan. Wait, no, Darren Chan is the name of the author as well.
I said that.
Oh, I thought it was just Shan. I didn't realize his first name is also Darren. It's Darren O'Shaughnessy. Okay. So
yeah, so I said he shortened it to Shan, but he's Irish. He's
gotcha.
Darren O'Shaughnessy.
But yeah, so I guess this guy like saw Harry Potter but like understood, but like kind of took for granted how much people knew about whatever a Vampanese is and what a freak show is and stuff, and that was their biggest mistake.
Or just like, I don't know, thought if you threw enough proper nouns in there, people would be like, this is probably important.
Yeah.
See, speaking of, we learn a lot of these proper nouns in Willem Dafoe's first and really only scene.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's talking to John C. Reilly and being like, they've killed Vincent and they're going to kill us next. The Vampanese. We've got to go to the Vampire Council. But the vampire generals are all gone. It's just you and me, the last of the Mofreakins. And I was like, is that... So you said so many proper nouns that are just things. Is a Mofreakin a thing or is that a joke? I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's really weird, though. It's
Listen,
so weird.
If you're gonna get somebody to show up in your movie, say a bunch of words I don't understand, and then peace. I mean, Willem Dafoe is a great choice.
Yeah.
Agreed.
How many times has he been vampires and stuff? This can't be the first time in his career, right?
I don't know.
I mean, is he not a vampire in Poor Things? He's basically
He's literally not. No.
Vampire-like.
I don't know. He seems slightly immortal.
He's far more Dr. Frankenstein-esque than he is a vampire.
But are we sure? Are we sure?
Oh, that's
yes.
a good question. Are we sure?
All right, I guess we're sure.
I'm extremely sure.
But are we? This is another one of those things where DJ just goes, no, it's not. And we go, I guess not. Good point. Conversation over. I'm looking for
That's how I win every argument.
Yeah, it's a good start. Like, I think it's going to work. So he's in a movie called Shadow of the Vampire. But that is a movie. So it's a movie about the filming of Nosferatu. But he plays Max Schreck in that movie. So,
but the point of that movie is that it's like Max Schreck really was a vampire.
Oh, okay.
So he is playing a vampire in that movie.
Cool. That's good. And then like Green Goblin's not a vampire, but Goblin's a vampire is kind of similar. Besides that, I don't know. Has he done it since? Like, obviously he's in this new Nosferatu movie as something. I don't know if we know what role he's playing. But he's a good vampire. Like, he's got a solid face for vampire roles. You should do him more. Or fish. He's good as a fish in Finding Nemo. You should do that more.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what fish is he in Finding Nemo?
He's the captive
sexy fish.
The
Yeah.
Gil, I think.
Gil, that's right. And I'm only describing him as a sexy fish because I watched an After Midnight thing where they were talking about animal characters that people find sexy, and apparently he is very high on a lot of people's lists. Gil from Finding Nemo.
Including yours.
I mean, we already discussed. The Spider Woman is number 1, and then I've never made the list, so let's say the rest of the spiders we said are 2 through 50 or whatever.
So you're really mainly about spiders.
I guess so, yeah. I never really thought about it. Let's see. Video game Shallop. Let's look at her. Oh, okay. Yeah, that should put this in the movie. What were they thinking? It could have been a woman instead of a big spider. I don't like spiders at all.
Oh, Shelob. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I hate spiders too. They're like my least favorite thing to see in the world. Besides, like, I don't know, Nazis and stuff. So, like,
if I had to pick between seeing a Nazi and seeing a spider, I guess I'll go with the spider.
yeah, I'll take a spider under that situation. But others, it's like, so that's why it's so crazy that I remember the one from the James and the Giant Peach movie. So it must mean something.
She awakened some stuff in us. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, DJ? Who's your favorite sexy cartoon? Well, it doesn't have to be spider. But just so we have this on record, so everybody can.
Cartoon animal.
Yeah.
If you were a furry, who would be your number one?
I was gonna say,
squeeze?
Bluey's mom or something, or like something that's so recent. It's like, wait, that's from the other day, DJ.
I know. Don't want to answer this question, but I guess I will. I'm gonna do you guys remember, this is like such a weird deep cut, do you remember in Yu Yu Hakusho, an anime everyone's definitely watched, during the Dark Tournament saga? Just look this up, Tournament. There's like a little,
I don't even know how to spell Yu Yu Hakusho, so this is gonna,
that's fine.
Yeah.
There's a little like a Tanuki ring judge, and she's like a little like Tanuki lady. Like, that's probably it for me. So, you know.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is such a deep cut that I'm like, this really awakened something in DJ. Like, he's been marinating on this one for decades.
Wait, so she's like but she's not even really, she's like a person with like a tail. I don't think this counts.
Nah, she's got ears and stuff.
Oh,
I'm not counting this. No.
Oh, this is a coward answer.
Unacceptable.
This is
yeah.
This is the answer of a coward, DJ.
Well, oh my.
Did you find
God.
a picture of it, Diggins? Or are you like, she
yeah,
barely
I'm looking
even,
at it.
like, I guess you could maybe say she has like some exaggerated facial features, but this is a person with a tail and ears on.
Well, hold on. Is this Jury or Koto?
I'm looking at
Koto.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking
You're
at.
a coward.
Nah, this isn't acceptable.
I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm being lambasted.
This is a human woman who has funny ears and a tail.
Yeah.
I don't know then. I don't know.
No movies you could think of with anthropomorphized, characters that you were like, wow. Like, I mean, the Robin Hood one, right? That's everybody's favorite one.
I guess Nala, maybe.
Or Nala, sure. There you go.
Right,
that's an acceptable one. And not Beyonce. You're talking about original recipe Nala.
Yeah, no, OG
original
Nala.
When she gave Simba those bedroom eyes, you were like,
classic.
Yep. I'm going with Nala then.
Did they do that in the new one? Did they give Nala a sexy face? I forget.
It would have required the animals in the movie to be able to emote.
Yeah,
so
that's
I
true.
would say no.
They probably did, but it was so slight that you could never have told you that happened. Oh man, they got
what a great time, guys! It was so fun.
Pretty good.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I know what I'm being for Halloween is that little fox thing DJ just described. Not only is that a last minute costume, if I ever have heard one. No, yeah. I don't know.
For being a coward, you should be.
Yeah, always. Just upset at myself. Anyway.
Well, that was Cirque du Freak, the vampire's assistant, guys.
Yeah, a movie that only gets better the more you think about it. Also, yeah, John C. Reilly was in it or something, right? He really come up, but he's okay.
I liked him.
Yeah.
Thought he was good.
Did you guys know he's the clown in real life?
I did not.
He went to like clown school and stuff. No, yeah, he has like clowning experience and takes it very seriously. So all the shit in the beginning where he's like dancing around like a clown doing his little act, that's definitely like him being like, I'll do clown stuff. You'll love it. And it almost works. Yep. I even think his dad might be a famous clown. That's how much
Does he have an egg in the museum?
I think he might, yeah. It's a very this is a GQ article just called John C. Reilly, King of the Clowns. And it's about him. But yeah, it's a big part of his life. So pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But I don't know about the egg. I'm going to look it up.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's the whole movie.
Yep.
As far as Hutchtober goes, where do you feel like this ranks among the two we've done so far?
Gosh.
I guess I thought it was more interesting than Journey to the Center of the Earth, even if it wasn't necessarily better.
Yeah, this one didn't have fake 3D effects or Seth Meyers, so it's definitely worse for me.
Yeah, I think this will be more memorable for me in terms of just like some specific things, but I do think it's a worse movie, I think. So just because it's so vague and the main character's kind of boring. So
yeah, I think it is a worse made movie, but I think it is. If I had to watch one of them, I would pick this one because it's dumber and sillier.
And Selma Hayek's in it, and she's great, but she's not in it that much. She could trick you by being on the poster, and then you're like, oh, great, but no, not very much of her. It's really mostly John C. Reilly. Like, I'm just kind of scrubbing through this movie and finding random shots, and they're all John C. Reilly. So
a lot of John C. Reilly, honestly.
Yeah.
But hey, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. He's great. So do you guys want to get to our classic segment?
Yeah.
I would love that.
All right. DJ, do you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
Yeah, I thought about this because I didn't have much. So it's spooky season, and I thought I would give some spooky season board game recs. Just kind of like, just a couple, throw out there, see what your flavor is. The first one, I think I brought this up last year, but I'll bring it up again. This one's called The Night Cage. It's an insane game where it's another cooperative game where the premise is you are like dropped into this cage where you can't see and you have very little light and is dwindling. And it is a like tile placement game where you have to like move onto these different tiles and try and escape the night cage. And no one ever wins because it's impossible.
Yeah.
I don't even know if this is a board game you could find. It's like the nichest of niche board games, but it's fascinating to me and I enjoy it, but it's like not it's not by any means something that you should break your back for unless you want to have some real obscure board games in your collection. So let me offer something a bit more accessible. Next up is I'm sure you guys have seen this. It's called Disney's Villainous. And there's so many expansions, all these different like villains you can play as. Yeah. And pretty simple game. It's not like asymmetric, but like you play a different Disney villain and you have this like specific goal and you're going through your deck and you're trying to kind of like churn through your deck with different mechanics to get that goal. And like every villain has like a different mechanic. Like some are like scrying decks or trying to look at cards and discard properly, where others are like trying to be more disruptive toward your opponents. You're not really like fighting each other. You're just trying to get to your goal first. So it's this kind of like interesting, like it's not asynchronous in play, but it is a little bit in terms of like race. Like you are just playing your own game. There's not a lot of interactivity, so it kind of has that problem with Spirit Island that I mentioned last week. But I do think it's like a fun family game and great for spooky season. What's that around the corner? Oh my god, it's another cooperative game that has an app and is really crunchy. Oh my god, it's Mansions of Madness. Mansions of Madness, a Lovecraftian-ish adjacent kind of style game. It really is. They're all kind of Cthulhu monsters you're fighting, but where you're a detective and you're trying to solve a mystery, and it's cooperative because you're working with your fellow detectives to not die. And it features an app, which basically means that the games play out differently each time because it's not card-based, so there's a little bit more programming in there to make the outcomes a little bit different, but it's very long and very crunchy. So, play at your own will, with that one. But wait, what's that around the corner? Maybe a more accessible game that you'd want to play? Well, then why don't you play Betrayal at House on the Hill, 3rd edition? The best one, in my opinion. In this game, it starts out as cooperative, but it could become competitive, or maybe not. This is probably the most fun for me out of the bunch. So you starting out as like a Scooby-Doo style gang of people exploring some kind of mansion that is built by tiles, so it can be kind of different each time. Then there is something called a haunt, when now the tables have turned and one of you is bad, or maybe none of you is bad, but most of the time one of you is bad. And then it's a one versus many kind of style where you're trying to kill the betrayer's trying to win, thus Betrayal at House on the Hill. And it's very fun, and the game used to be a little clunky and tilted more favored toward the Betrayer, but the third edition has like smoothed out a lot of the game. Not really like gameplay, but kind of the specific haunts to make it a much more balanced experience. And I just think fun overall. So I think the third edition is like the best because there's the first edition, which is fine. There's a Baldur's Gate version, which is like a D&D version, also fine, definitely better than the first edition. But I think the third edition, they've quite nailed it. So that is a smorgasbord of spooky adjacent games that you can look into. If you had to pick one, I think Betrayal at House on the Hill is like a masterpiece, but like requires the highest player count. Like you could theoretically play the Night Cage with 2 people. You can play Mansions of Madness by yourself. You could set up a whole game of Mansions of Madness and just play by yourself if that's your thing. And then Villainous also like better with higher player counts, but then too many and it kind of drags. I find like 3 to 4 to be the sweet spot with Villainous. So that is my spooky game smorgasbord for spooky season for your folks' consideration. Diggins, what recommendations do you have?
Mine is also somewhat board game related, although it's not itself a board game. So the Good Times Society, which is a board game YouTube channel thing, is going to be launching a Kickstarter soon to create like highly produced videos of people playing Blood on the Clocktower. And they have a like a proof of concept video of like them doing it once up already. Which is a game. Good Time Society is a channel run by Becca Scott, who you may recognize if you watch Dropout stuff. And you may recognize even more people in this if you are a Dropout person, because she got like Brennan, Abria, Reika, Vic.
Oh, I have seen stuff for this. Yeah.
A bunch of Dropout people, as well as a few other like internet people who haven't been on Dropout to play in the Blood on the Clocktower game. That is like their proof of concept. So that's like, it's like an hour and a half long. I think it actually may be more like 2 hours, somewhere in that range of just, they've got it all set up. They have like a set and then like different like little areas with camera set up where the players can go to like have side conversations. And like with the editing, they're like always having up like what the player's actual role is while they're talking, so you don't get confused or like forget things. It's really well done, and I like things like that. I like watching people play social games like that, and I like playing social games like that because there's nothing I love more than lying to my friends. So I thought that was really cool, and the Kickstarter hasn't actually launched yet, but they're like letting people know that it's going to happen. And if it happens, then they'll do a bunch more like these. And I think that would be cool. What about you, Nando? Do you have anything to rec?
I've read a couple comics this week. I'll recommend one comic to keep that part simple. And I read the first issue of Absolute Batman, which is part of their new line of like, we're going to make them more accessible. Like Marvel and DC are both doing this. They're not called this. Marvel has relaunched the Ultimate line, which is kind of reimagined versions of heroes, but also in their own continuity. So you can just pick it up and start it and then be kind of on board.
This is a different Ultimate continuity,
it is,
right? Not the original.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's different from the original. I know. It's like, it's kind of like the original Ultimate. Like it is connected to it. Like the original Ultimate Universe was destroyed. And when this started, you were kind of like, is this more of that? And it seemed like it could have been, but then pretty quickly it became clear that this is a better shot at one of these. There's a bunch of different books in the Ultimate one. The Avengers and the Spider-Man are the two that everyone loves. It's not called Ultimate Avengers. They're the Ultimates, I think. But there's other ones. There's an X-Men. There's a Black Panther, and then there's a Wolverine that they just announced, which is interesting because in this universe, Wolverine is the Winter Soldier, which makes sense because they're pretty similar, and those characters have no like interaction. But it's like, yeah, that's pretty cool looking costume stuff, so that'll be good. Whatever. That's all on the Marvel side, and Marvel, I think Hickman's doing these. There are a couple different people. Peach Momoko's working on the X-Men one, but Batman and like DC is doing their own version of this, and it's absolute blank. And it doesn't, I was confused about this when I heard about it because I was like, absolute, does this mean like kind of a definitive like what makes it absolute? And it just really does feel like it's like the word ultimate, but kind of different, because it's just a different take on some of these characters. But it's definitely not like, we got it, this is the new standard of Batman, because the Batman is incredibly different. And I know that's true. I don't know. The Superman, I think, existed on Krypton for longer than he usually does. He's more of an immigrant than usually in those stories. And the Wonder Woman, I know, was raised in hell instead of on Themyscira. Although that book I don't even think has come out yet. The Batman is complicated. He's a different kind of hero. But the main thing you'll notice if you read this book, and it makes sense because it's a Scott Snyder book. Not that all of his books are like this, but he's just a gigantic square of a man with a gigantic square of a Batman symbol on his chest. And all his powers are different, kind of. They're slightly reimagined versions. I'll show you like the cover.
That they exist, for example? Because Batman got powers.
So he doesn't have powers, but like all the ways that he fights are different. He has a cape that kind of works differently than his cape usually does. He has, I'll show you. Okay, hold on. Let me copy this. I'm putting it in our chat so you can see. This is a picture of him. And like that is what this character looks like in the book. Like that's not like an exaggerated big chest like Captain America chest in that one image. Like he's just this humongous guy. And
that is one of the squarest lads I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it's good. One of the cooler things about him. So 2 things you learn about his costume and stuff. Well, 3, I guess. His wings detach kind of, and he uses them more as whips to kind of walk around, kind of like bats do. It's kind of interesting. He also has that big giant fucking hideous logo in the middle of his chest, which I usually hate, but it detaches and is used as an axe. So he has a big axe as part of his kit. God. And then the other thing that I didn't realize until recently, he has big giant Batman like ears. Didn't notice until recently, but all this stuff was stuff that I had seen before I read it. But he's able to take the ears off and turn them into regular size ears, and then he has 2 little knives that he'll like toss and use as weapons. So it's pretty extreme, but it's cool. It's like any of these where it's a reimagined version of like all of the main Batman characters. Alfred's more of a secret agent than usual and stuff, but overall this book is very good. So yeah, I think it's fun. I don't know if it's like, I mean, it's very accessible. It's not what everybody would expect when you think of Batman. So like, you know, you got to give it a little bit of room, but I think it's very popular and people really like it. And yeah, it's drawn by Nick Dragotta, who worked on some like Fantastic Four and stuff like that. So it's very good. Yeah, very cool art. That's my only big comic one for this week. The only other thing that I was watching, besides having nearly finished Crazy Ex-Girlfriend on season 4, I think I'm right that I like season 2 the best. And I think everything I've said about the show so far has been correct. That mostly the Trent is the best one. And every time Trent shows up, the show becomes amazing. And, you know, we'll see if he ever, you know, makes another appearance. But I like how sparingly he has been used. But then I'm also watching a show. I started watching 1 episode of it, so I barely even finished that because I've just been pretty busy. But it's a show on Peacock called Hysteria. And no, this isn't that one where it's like, what if history was cartoons? That's a different show. But it's about a high school heavy metal band. It's like a comedy, but it's also like a horror kind of thing. And I'm not sure what lane it's going to end up more in. But the pitch very simply is there's a town where serial killer stuff is happening or something. I think it's like the 80s or 70s or something like that. There's also a bunch of kids who are unpopular and are in a heavy metal band that nobody cares about. And one of them realizes that if they can kind of use this satanic panic thing that has come with the serial killer, they can use it to make their band popular in a very like, oh, you're so transgressive sort of way. And as a premise, it's fun. You know, the characters in it are good. I don't know, Julie Bowen's in it. Because I haven't really gotten far enough in it to know too much about what's going on. But I think as a premise, I'm enjoying it as like a kind of pulpy, silly Halloween programming. And it's got Bruce Campbell, but he's probably not in it that much. So, you know, if you like looking at him a little bit, get ready because he's in it. So yeah, that's on Peacock. And everybody has that, so y'all go home and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we doing next week, you guys?
We are Venom.
We do have Venom next week. Ooh. But it is next week, right?
It is, yeah.
Eddie. I can't believe that. That's crazy.
I know. And Hutch isn't in it, unfortunately.
Rip. That we know of. I think I kind of know who's playing Null, but I wouldn't be shocked if they have a secret in store. You know?
A secret Hutch.
Yeah. There's a lot of random symbiote characters he could just show up as if we wanted like little cameos, like in Deadpool, you know? Like an army of Deadpool shows up and it's like, that one's Hutcherson. Yeah. He's Lash.
It's always possible.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Do you guys have anything to plug?
Just Roses and Rejections, covering Love is Blind finale. Crazy shit, man. Maybe I'll talk a little bit more next week after the finale because there's just been some crazy shit. Diggins, what about you?
Nope, not really. What about you, Nando?
Videos, Blade pitches on Nebula, and that means the Zatanna video is on YouTube. And then next video I'm working on, which will be the next video that'll be on Nebula when Blade goes on YouTube, is it's kind of an accounting of, separate from all the superhero stuff, the insane like governments of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because when you really take a look at it, it's like not the most exciting thing that's happening in that universe. Like there's aliens and stuff, but like what actually goes on between the president and stuff is pretty insane. And it's interesting because a lot of it's subtext. So, well, you'll see the video and then you'll go, oh yeah, I see what he means. That'll be out eventually. Besides that, just that, you know. Until next week, been at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.